Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man!
All right, episode 66 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Cori and JL from Screen Kings in New Mexico. Let's go!
Hey.
Hi.
This is the best thing I could have imagined. This is the ultimate version that I wanted.
I know. Here we are. It's a little premature, but I mean, we're here. I don't know how much longer I have before Dad shows up, but here we are.
Him. Just lock the door.
Hey, look. You ready for this? Bye. Fuck out of here.
You throw that shit in the garbage. There you go. Way better. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Out here on some family vacation. And, just...
You decided to family vacation in St. Louis?
No, actually, St. Charles. Even worse. No, times are tough in Oklahoma. I come up here on the weekends and clean screens and print some shirts. You know, it's kind of like that sweet going back to the humble beginnings, you know?
Right. So what have you done fun there?
We went to the museum. My family right now is at the city museum. I'm playing hooky. It's kind of tight. My wife is dealing with our children and her family. And I like it. Yeah, she's taking one for the team, as we say.
Mm-hmm. What shirt you got on there?
Rambo.
Oh, hell yeah.
I bought it online. I don't know how they printed this, dude. If it's DTG, it's real impressive. If it's simulated process, it's real impressive. Either way, it's real impressive.
Who knows?
What the fuck?
Oh, shit. Dad's here.
I take a shit and I'm gone for like 30 seconds.
Wild Boys Takeover.
I'm supposed to be washing screens.
I know. Sorry. Let me put this back.
I like this better.
I don't know.
Don't put it back.
Yeah, that's actually, that needs to stay. That probably needs to stay for this episode, huh?
Yeah, at least.
Well, you want to hang out for a minute?
I can hang out for a minute before I have to go.
What, like 3 hours roughly?
2.5. Is that all right? Thank you.
I actually got a text about you this morning, Justin.
Uh-oh. Was it from your mom?
Yeah, she said she said she was real sore.
Oh God, that got dark fast. Way to take it.
Chad, cut that one out for us.
No,
Chad,
stop.
leave that one in.
Yeah, hell
it's like Dylan's mom.
Right. She likes to let it marinate. If we go further, we might have to cut it out.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
This is dark.
Fuck, where'd it go?
Were you pulling out your dad jokes already?
I wasn't even ready. Justin hopped it right on early.
I got a dad joke. You ready?
Okay.
Can I have the dad joke?
Uh-huh.
What do you get when you cross a dick with a potato?
Andy?
He knows.
Yeah, he knew the punchline.
Andy.
Can we see you good?
Dictator.
Andy.
Andy.
And Andrew Rudman.
All right, Dylan, do you have not a dick joke? Do you have a dad joke?
I have a dick dad joke.
Oh.
My shorts match your hoodie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The first annual meeting of Camouflage Club was a disaster. It looks like no one showed up.
How did I know you were going to tell a camo joke?
Well, we just talked about camo, so there you go.
All
Justin, what are you drinking? You got anything?
Yeah, this St. Charles punch. St. Charles, St. Peter's. Where are we at?
We'll say St. Charles.
Are they the same?
I like it. Yeah.
I've seen signs for both.
Yeah. It's kind of the same. Like I don't even know. I don't have the answer for that. How was your weekend, Dylan?
It's all right. I haven't done jack shit. Like normally I don't sit around and do nothing, but today I was like, fuck it. And I just sat in bed and watched Yellowstone all day.
So have you watched Yellowstone?
I love Kevin Costner. I want to watch it. I've heard it's dark. Kevin Costner is my favorite actor and he's in my favorite movie. You guys got to guess.
Waterworld?
Waterworld. That's literally my favorite movie, Brody.
I knew. I figured you're a water guy and Kevin Costner's big flop Waterworld.
This is right in your face.
I like it that way.
My mom said so.
Yeah. Ask Sally. What's your mom's name?
Tia.
Tia. Woo, Tia. She didn't give me her real name. She gave me her stripper name. So it's good to know. She told me her name was Tia. I'm really sorry if you listen to this. I've never met you, and this is not how I normally talk. And I'm really sorry.
My mom would love this.
Yeah, she would.
So what are you guys doing? You guys just hanging out at the Kong?
Just Konging.
Yeah, I said, he was in town, and I saw he was in town because of his story. And I think I texted him and said, that stung a little bit. You're in town.
True.
And you don't bother to hit me up. And it hurt. It hurt.
Yep.
And so I guilted him in, basically.
You paid him.
Basically.
Right. I get it. Hey, side note, Justin, what the fuck are you building? Every time I look at your Instagram, you guys are building something.
That's what we do, man. Is build things. Andy and I were talking about it earlier. He was walking me around the shop. Y'all, this is the cleanest print shop I've ever been into, ever. You're doing it right, my friend. You're doing it right.
Yeah, I paid him for that part too.
I figured as much.
I just wanted to make it so that you couldn't say that joke.
Right. Okay.
We're building out our our retail spot. The part of town that we're in is a really cool part of town, and I've really had this like crappy, when you get the first industrial warehouse you get in, that office that's like 15 by 15, and then there's the rest of the production space. That's basically what the front of our retail was in a really nice part of town. And so we, after I did Eufaula, which is a small town outside of Oklahoma City, we built out a cool retail experience there. And then finally it was where we could like reposition our people, because it's just shuffling. Where does the art department go this time, and fulfillment, et cetera. And so it finally made sense where it said, we're just going to blow all this out, and I'm going to try to do a decent retail experience. So that's what we're doing. We tore down a bunch of walls, painted a bunch of things black, and here we go.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
We'll see. I hope so. I mean, none of y'all will ever see it because Oklahoma sucks and has no reason for y'all to come there, but I'll tell great lies through Instagram stories.
That's perfect. That's all you need.
Dylan, I kind of recall us going down there to the lake. There was an invite, I thought, extended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
anytime, not anytime, really, when my wife says it's cool, then you guys can come.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I don't even know where Oklahoma is.
Nobody does, man.
Andy, how was your week?
Well, I was going to talk about this later in the show, but I spent
give me the quick version.
Quick version is that I spent most of the week trying to source some supplies. I think you did a little bit of that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who would have thought?
I just ordered it all.
Oh, really? So you just sent it, and see, I don't have that for whatever reason. My main supplier doesn't have stock or can't find it, and so it's just really weird. Like, who would have thought that? It's hard enough, right? Running a shop, made it through COVID. We have the work, and now here we need ink.
We can't fucking print
shirts.
Anything because we don't have the supplies.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Are you guys running into that a ton, Justin?
No, we haven't felt that squeeze at all. That's what I was going to ask you guys. If you felt that supply squeeze, I think in Oklahoma, we're lucky because we're right above Texas, who gets a lot of action, and then nobody knows where Oklahoma is. And so our distributors have inventory. And so when I start hearing like my friends in different, bigger cities that are concerned about this, I start like panic buying stuff. I heard y'all talk about it. I was listening to your last show or show before last, and y'all were talking about supply chain. And then there's this cool little Slack channel, screen printing OnlyFans, that you guys and me and a few others are a part of. And people talking about being freaked out about ink. And so I text my production manager. I said, dude, go buy a bunch of white ink. I mean, we'll use it, but Go get it, because it's one thing to not have shirts, right? Like, oh, cool, we can't print black shirts. Now we can print black shirts again. So it's not a big deal. But when we couldn't print black shirts, it was a little hard. But now I can't imagine for us to look at a customer and say, hey, I don't have ink. Sorry, can't do white this week. What do you want to do? We got red.
Yeah, they won't get that at all.
No.
Yeah, I haven't really felt it either. I just am more of like, I have the opportunity to order more. I don't want to be a hoarder either. I just want to make sure like I have enough. So I'm the same. I just bought like a couple extra pails of everything to where I'm okay. But like, I don't know. I haven't really noticed it other than our friends saying they can't get anything.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, Andy?
Well, I did a little research and I have a paragraph to read later because I'm curious how is it in New Mexico? You know, like, are those guys running into those issues too?
Right.
But I mean, it's just, so basically that's how my week went. I mean, I sat at my desk trying to figure out like, do we have enough ink to get us through the end of the year, you know? And so
halfway into 2022, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, right? Well,
So Justin, what's on the rest of your vacation agenda?
We're going to, so my family's at the City Museum right now, which if y'all haven't been to St. Louis, it's one of the coolest spots. There's nothing quite like it in the whole universe that I've seen. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to grab some root beer at Fitz's.
Haven't been for a long time, but yeah.
Fitz's is legit. And then we're actually me and my wife and kids are hopping on a plane tonight at 9:30 and headed back to OKC.
So we're going to have to wrap up this podcast by about 8:45 ish.
Close,
right?
Give or take.
Right. Justin probably has a private plane. Let's be honest. It's sitting in the parking lot.
No, just a little bitty airplane. Little bitty.
Oh yeah. What the fuck am I saying? You do have a plane.
I do, a little bitty one. But not like
I was kidding, but I remembered, oh yeah, you have a plane.
No, these planes, look, I get it. This plane costs $30,000. This is not a big, like, crazy plane. This is a little, like, I probably shouldn't be flying it. There ain't nothing technologically advanced about it at all. I'm just learning how to do this thing. This is
right. It's like the motorcycle of the sky is what you're getting.
Your words, not mine, you know?
Right.
That doesn't sound like a safe $30,000 seems like it wouldn't even fly. No?
Fuck yeah, dude. Wild boys.
Yes.
Did you build it yourself?
No, that would never crawl in something that I built and try to fly it. That would be terrible.
Do you have like a pilot's license?
I'm working on it. I'm a student pilot.
Nice.
Student pilot. I'll show you a picture of it later.
Zach, who works here, is doing the same thing right now. He's trying to get his whole thing, and he did his first flight on Wednesday. So he was.
You mean like a solo flight or a flight with an instructor?
No, I think he was with an instructor, but it was like his first one, and they got like all the way up there, and the instructor, I guess, just like sat back. He's like, "All right, fucking, you try." And I was like, "I would."
You done that yet?
I would shit my fucking pants.
I'll tell you what. When you're when you're with your instructor, you fly. And then they're telling you all these things and you take off and you do all this stuff and you feel like pretty good about this. And then there's this moment when you solo and your instructor, like you get how I did it. At least we got in the plane with my flight instructor and we went up and we did the pattern and we landed and then we did it again and we landed and he said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm ready." And then he got out of the plane, dude. And it's spooky.
And you had to do it by yourself?
When you're in it by yourself. I mean, he's on like in my headphones, he's talking to me, but I'm just like, okay, this is all me. And when you're in my plane, like there's also in most planes, there's two sets of controls. So even your flight instructor, like, you know, we're sitting like this, you know, the whole time. And he's flying and
that's not how you fly, Andy.
I'll be landing. When we're landing though, like I feel his inputs, you know, if he pushes on the yoke or pulls, if he does anything, or he also has foot controls too. If he puts any input into the plane, I feel it. And so you kind of know he's always there, you know? And this time what was spooky was I got in the plane and when Brian got out, there was about 200 pounds of weight that was not in the plane anymore. And so when I went to take off, I was like, all right, here we go. And like we go up to speed and then I start pulling back and then the plane just jumps up in the air because it was so much lighter. And it's funny how much of a difference it makes with not as much weight in there. And then I went around and I landed and it was cool, but it was horrifying because you realize at that moment, like, this is all you, dude. Like you can do this or you cannot. And it doesn't matter. Like there's only one way this plane's getting on the ground.
And you have a parachute,
barrel rolls and shit.
Couple loop-de-loops. No
Right,
parachutes. No parachute. That's stupid. Probably should. That's a really easy insurance policy, right? Have a parachute. Why not?
Jump out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck it.
I got something. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I got this new thing in my shop. I want to talk to you guys about it.
Okay.
It's not that new for us. We went all in, like, I think it was probably 12 to 18 months ago, but I'm telling you, we are a large screen printing company. We have 58 employees. We print a lot of shit and we burn through a lot of screens and inks and chemicals. And we have an auto reclaimer that you guys talk about a little bit. We've switched all of our chemicals to Easy Way. And let me tell you guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but it really is the easiest way.
The easiest way. Right?
It really is. Like this isn't some like, lip service. Like it's what we use every day, tried and true, and we count on it. And it, we print faster and we print cleaner and we're gentler on the environment and we're more efficient. And our screens, it's a fraction of the cost
Per screen.
per screen.
Right.
Easy Way.
It's the easiest way. Right, Justin?
Yep.
This right here, remember how this is a very special,
sacred ground.
secure. Don't fucking touch. You can do it. Yep.
Oh,
In fact, you want to.
oh,
Justin's got the honors.
Nobody's at.
Smells like piss. You know what's funny is I asked you to take a photo of that so I could get those stickers made.
Yeah.
And there's like grease stains on the fucking button.
Well, my hands are soft and oily. What can I say?
Right.
So you
I hope it's
photoshopped it.
greasy.
You fixed it, I hope.
Nope, I left them in. Okay, are you holding it and Justin's poking it?
Like nobody's ever touched this before. I don't know. Do you feel like it? You want to do this? Okay. All right. You ready?
Uh-huh. I gotta limber up.
Hey, let me tell you about Frank. We switched screens. Real talk. Listening to you guys' show. I told my production manager, I said, hey, give this a shot. Maybe these guys are full of shit or maybe they're full of truth. And it turns out we are switching all of our screens to GSF screen. GSF stands for Graphic Screen Fashion. And Frank stretches the best screens. Frank stretches better than anybody. I've never met Frank. I can't wait to meet Frank. When I see Frank, I'm going to kiss him on the mouth and I'm going to say, Frank, thank you very much, because these screens, dude, my screen printers, they literally get these, they pick between the screens because we have shitty screens and we have Frank screens and they select those screens and it really does make a difference. We literally use less ink. The print is better and crispier. And I told Jaron, I said, show me. And so he ran 2 jobs side by side.
Wait, hold on. This guy's name's Jaron.
Jaron, spell it. See if you can spell it. No one ever spells Jaron right. Go.
Jeran.
Close. 1 letter is off.
E-N?
Is it
Jeren? Jaron's my production manager. If any of you guys ever try to take him, I will come to your house and take your child. That's he is my best friend. He's my ride or die. But anyways, Jaron loves GSF screens. We have switched to GSF and we are retiring screens and we're fully flipping over our shop. And I don't even think Frank gives a crap about us or knows who we are, but
hell yeah, he does.
We've put in a lot of orders with Frank. And guys, if you should order 5 screens just to try it. They really are game changers. I don't know why they're game changers because I don't know very much about screen printing, but they're really, really awesome. That's probably how this shirt was made. They probably used GSF screen. Tell me how this shirt was made.
Justin is fucking clutch at this right now.
That for sure feels like a Frank screen right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel Frank.
You can feel it.
Is this
There's
Frank?
a little bit of Frank in every print.
Beautiful, Dylan. Very well put.
Mm-hmm.
So next we have Monarch, and I'll tell you what.
I don't know anything about Monarchy. Sorry, the wine's kicking in.
Well, Monarch, they make what I really love about Monarch is the high opacity mixing system, and also Yeti, and also Stark LB, and also they make a Stark, which is weird that it's called the same Stark Black. That's confusing. yeah, that's confusing. I don't like it, but it's what it is.
How about Monarch Supply Chain? Do they got inks?
They do have inks.
They do.
They do.
Mhm.
They do.
I
So
haven't had any issues.
Monarch, ink better, print better, be better.
Live Moss.
Monarch.
Okay, I got this one. My next tattoo, I'm getting a hot sauce packet from Taco Bell. And I was trying to think about the saying that I'm going to put on it. And it's actually, I'm going to get Live Moss because like one, that's them. But two, like Dylan, you've brought that home for me. So next time I see you, are y'all coming to Impressions in Texas?
You mean next week?
Next week. Y'all coming?
I don't think so.
Tight. Are you coming to Print Hustlers? You coming to Print Hustlers?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be there. I'll have a Live Moss tattoo.
Where's it going?
We'll get one together and then we'll put Wild Boys on our ass.
No, we won't. Because I already have Wild Boys on my ass.
All right, here we go.
I love it.
Sorry about that. Probably edit that out.
Don't be.
Now we're gonna zoom. We're gonna get a kind of up close with.
Tia, I'm sorry.
It's a great ass.
Yeah. So it looks like we're gonna get tattoos. Mine is going to be also when Ryan was in town, we decided that my knuckles, it's going to be shit Kong because
Works.
it just works. There's no room.
Or short dong. Short dong.
See, it's very abusive, this relationship, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, supposed to hype me up. Long dong actually fits better. I don't think short.
No, it doesn't.
SH.
People will see right through that.
We can settle this right now. I'm here as a witness. Okay. Yes. Whoa, Andy. Turns out.
Okay. Got to pull this back together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like where this is going. It's fucking Sunday. It's not even 5 o'clock yet.
The church is let out.
Hell yeah.
How do we sound, by the way? Because we're sharing this mic and I don't know.
wonderful.
We don't have headphones. It's good.
I don't like how Justin is covered.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, what do we?
You don't need the mic to be 3 inches from your face.
There it is. Hold on. Put the mic right here.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yep. I like where it's going.
Mom, sorry.
Miss Tia.
Mhm.
Miss Gilligan.
Mystique is her show name.
Mystique.
So, Justin, you use some Action products, no?
I do. Yes,
Yeah.
we love Action. So Action Engineering, we have a roller for every press. We have 7 presses. We have a roller for every one of them. We have the, actually owe Eric some content. I told Eric when he released his fast platen tape accessory thing, I said, hey, send me one of those. We'll make some content. And he sent me one. We have not made any
ghosted
content.
him.
Yeah, I know. That's so hard. I feel so bad about it. I'm going to find him at the next trade show and be like, hey, here's your thing back. I'm really sorry. No, it's awesome.
It's all
Actually, I
covered
should
in spray.
just buy it and tell him not to send it to me. But that thing's super awesome. You know what the game changer is, though? If you own nothing from Action Engineering, you have to go buy a double squeegee. The double squeegees are literally game changers. We think we use them all the time, and they really, really, really are helpful when it comes to printing faster and printing cleaner.
So we do not use them, so I don't know.
Get one.
But yeah, so they have all sorts of accessories that printers need. One of the things we love is the if you burn a pallet, which you shouldn't, but if the pallet is, let's just say it needs to be replaced, well, they have that peel and stick rubber, makes it so much better,
so much easier.
so much easier. So yeah, I don't know.
I've done it the old way too, of putting like the adhesive on the back, and it never works good.
Yeah, we've bought their platens We've bought all sorts of different platens. We've got the double sleeve platens, the double or the quad like sleeve platens. We've gotten the neck tag printers. I think that Action Engineering is one of the more significant businesses that's adding value to our industry and at least gives you more things to like toy around with in the lab. You know, so next time you're at a trade show, like even go through their website. It's expensive, but it's expensive because they work and they're made really, really well. Yeah.
But guess what? We can get you 15% off.
I can get you 20% off. You put in Wild Boys at checkout, it won't work. But if you email Eric with a K and say, hey, Justin said, then you probably won't work. You should do what Dylan says or what Andy says.
So Dylan, what
Dylan says. 15% off.
So how do you?
I want you to try Wild Boys though. I want to see what happens.
It won't work.
How do you get the 15?
You go to actionengineering.com and put in shirt show at checkout.
Yeah. All right. We did it.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's how it's done.
That's how it's done. Thank you.
Yeah.
This was fun.
It's not over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just getting started.
You got like 3 hours left.
Oh, God. I got to call my wife. Text her at least. I'm out of wine, Andy.
Andy, you got more to drink there.
Andy's getting. Oh, Lord. Look at this. What are we drinking, Andy? Come on, man. Marioni. This is for our Italian friends that are about to get on. Cori and J.O. Luzietti.
I hope that's how they say it, too.
It is.
I have some in there, so if you need it.
Liv Moss, man.
Yeah, Liv Moss.
Hey, real talk. Real talk. Honest, like, do you think that Bigfoot is real?
Yes.
Do you really? Like, in your heart of hearts, you really do?
In my heart of hearts.
Do you just think that he's the rarest of Pokemon and we just can't capture him? Like,
yes.
What is this crypto, like, cryptids? Like, why, if he's real, why haven't we seen him?
The best explanation I've ever heard from anybody is like, I don't know what they have in Oklahoma, but here it's like, for me, it's like a porcupine. Like there's thousands of porcupines everywhere. How many porcupines have you ever seen in your life? Like, I don't think I've ever seen one for real, like running around.
Yeah, but I see him at the zoo.
Right, at the zoo. Because
I see him. I can go to Google and I can say porcupine, and I can find videos of porcupines having sex. I can find videos of porcupines like
that's the wrong
nests.
Website.
I can. I had 2 different animals having sex at the St. Louis Zoo. They get down here in the.
I saw your frog video.
Yeah, they were froggy style, and the turtles. My daughter goes, "Daddy, what are they doing? She's trying to get a piggyback ride." It's on my Instagram stories right now. In a week, it won't be, but anyway.
So anyway, if there's thousands of porcupines, and if there's only 4 Sasquatch, say in this area, how often are you going to see one? And if you do see one, are you going to be prepared to get video or whatever? I wouldn't be able to get video if I saw one in the woods. I'd be freaking the fuck out.
But they probably breed the same way that humans do.
Yeah.
They are humanoid.
They bury their dead.
They bury their dead. Why haven't we seen like some gun-toting, Republican voting, God-fearing citizen would have a head hanging on their wall?
There are videos, correct? I mean, I've seen them.
No.
Don't tear it down.
Dylan, I don't want to tear it down. I just don't want you to believe in shit that ain't true. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to keep the dream alive and like, oh yeah, you got kids want to go snipe hunting. But I just want to know, like, if you really, really, really believe it, I respect that.
I really, really want to believe it.
There you go. Thank you, Mulder.
I guess it's about faith, huh?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing without believing. Yes, I love that. I can get behind that all day. What is that? What is that? Oh, X-Files. Look at that.
I want to believe right there.
I want you to want to believe.
Okay, thanks.
I'm down.
Now I just fuck my camera up.
Same. I can get behind that all day. I have a question.
Yep.
I don't have you of all of my friends that have print shops. No one prints cooler shit than you.
Hey,
just want you to know that. And I know that you don't make the art. People bring you great art.
Yeah.
But you take great art and you make it beautiful.
Thank you.
I want to get in on some of that action. Thank you. And next, a close second to only shirt, Short Dong. Short Dong makes the coolest shirts this side of the Mississippi. But Y'all are on the same side of the Mississippi. So no, but what I'm saying though is how can I get in on some of that action? Because a lot of the people you print for, my vibe has changed recently where I'm all about graphic tees. I used to want to just only wear solid tees, but I see some of the stuff that you guys make, and I'm just saying, I'd like to get my hands on a couple of those things. And some of them I try to like buy shirt like Andy. Like when I see my friends that make cool stuff, I go buy them, and I don't want a discount. I want to go through the process and I want to support my friends. But a lot of the stuff that you make, I can't even buy it. I can't find it. Or the bands are like, oh yeah, we have our merch, and their merch stores are never live. So I'm going to need a few to fall off the back of the truck and end up in a bag definitely. And get shipped to Oklahoma City.
Got it. I got you, fam.
Extra large. Next level 3600s.
Okay.
All right. Well,
so Andy just handed me a wad of cash. Let's count.
I think they're 20s. It's not a lot.
Whoa. Okay. We are in the 100. We have passed 100.
I'm what they call a baller.
Shot caller.
So I don't know. Like here we are. Cori's here, and JL.
Justin Lawrence.
Nice.
And we got two. Holy fucking shit. We have 2 JLs today.
Unicorns.
All right. So are you gonna?
I'm gonna go.
No.
Oh, I'm gonna stay.
Yeah. I think we're doing this.
He still has. You're still on the clock
yes,
right now with what he paid you.
I still have 33 more screens to reclaim. Thankfully, we have the Ecotex.
All right. Well, this week we have Cori and JL. And JL. You're supposed to say the last name. Luzietti. They're nervous right now. They have no idea that they're about
that you're going to be there
with a clown.
You should come up from below, from Andy's lap.
And of course, they are with Screen Kings from New Mexico. All right, here we go. Yeah.
Closer together.
Hey guys,
Justin, you got a little something on your lip.
Oh wow, boys! There it is. It's gone. It's back.
Hey. You guys look really excited.
Oh, we're so excited.
Yeah.
All day. Just been talking about it.
Just, we have kids screaming in the back because we have to do it at home.
Parent life.
If you hear screaming, just ignore it.
It's not people being tied up in the basement. It's your children.
Yeah, it's
kids
no big deal.
tied up,
no big deal.
Hey, we have a special guest today. Justin showed up.
Hi, guys.
What's up,
Hi.
man?
Andy left the back door open, and I just came in and said, "What up? Sundays. This is when we do this, right?" Okay.
Yep, this is it.
I apologize for Dylan. He's filthy.
It's all good.
So tell us about your Sunday, guys. What are you doing?
You go first.
Oh, I finished paying taxes this morning, so that sucked. But I was just been putting it off, and so I just did it, and now I don't have to worry about it for a couple months or so.
Ever.
A month, yeah.
Ever, yeah, until 30 days, and then we have to worry about it again. But and then I rode dirt bikes, and then I just coated screens and just got back from coating screens. So yeah.
Andy, you look like you got something to say.
Yeah, I was going to say something, and then I heard dirt bikes, and I wanted to immediately talk about that. But
yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ying ying.
Yeah, yep, that's it.
That's exactly it. Do you guys have a sweet place to ride near your house?
Yeah, we pretty much live in the desert, so you can just ride out from our driveway and just go.
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there a lot of regulation on trails and stuff out there? Because here when I was a kid, we used to ride all over the place. And now half the trails are shut down because of local farms or people just pissed off that you're ripping up their property.
Yeah.
No one really lives out there. It's just Mesa. It's just
so the Mesa. It's some parts are owned by farmers and stuff like that, but they don't really care. But when you get into the mountains, there is regulations as far as spark arresters and having certain things so you don't light the mountain on fire. But as far as desert goes, it's not too particular. But there are some people that'll freak out if you go in their area. But I mean, it's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan, do you know what a mesa is?
I have no idea. I live in.
I know.
It's like I said. She said Mason. I was like, they don't.
Well, I mean, it's just dirt. I mean,
It's just like
nothing's. There's no grass. Or
In my mind, I guess just like open area.
No,
it's like open area. There's
Just
a lot
dirt.
of like water washes where like water just like when it rains really really bad, like there's like huge ditches and stuff that we ride in and stuff. But
there's no we don't have like real water here.
we don't have
It's just,
and like trees.
You don't have real water.
No,
there's no like lakes or streams or anything.
It's all
No, it's
fake
just
water.
dirt and weeds and cactus.
It's just like Bud Light out there, right? There's no
It's just
area.
Bud Light, and yeah, you just swim in Bud Light. It's sick.
That's
So-
the only water.
in Oklahoma, the
Uh-huh.
highest point in Oklahoma is like elevation wise,
Yeah.
is a state landmark called the Black Mesa.
Uh-huh.
And a mesa, technically, Dylan and Andy, is a mountain that basically has the top whacked off. Like
Right.
it's a,
It's just- yeah, it's just
So,
flat.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a flat, like a trapezoidal mountain that just has. You try to summit this thing. You're like, oh, I guess this is where I live now because it's
Yeah.
flat and you can raise cows, whatever you want to do. But a mesa is a really geological, like
Just
geologically impressive structure.
So I
Yeah.
just fact checked Justin,
What's it say?
and
I hope
right.
it says mountain whacked off.
yeah, it's exactly right.
Whacked off mountains.
Whacked off.
We have
mountain.
mountains that you whack off over here, but they're not like anything that's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
But,
people go
yeah,
to jail.
There's just a lot of like desert and stuff out here. We don't really have trees. Grass is fake. Like we don't have like any of that stuff out here. It's super dry.
Just tumbleweeds everywhere.
Yeah.
So is that tree behind you fake or
Oh,
real?
that's fake.
This is fake. Yeah, that's not real.
Are you
yeah.
kidding? That's why we don't have any humidity. We don't have moisture
Yeah, like-
here.
Andy, yours is fake too.
Yeah, mine's IKEA. It's real from IKEA.
That is
Oh,
real.
okay. Well, see, I
cool.
know they started selling real plants, but see, we
Wow.
don't have an IKEA here, so
Yeah.
No,
I gotta get
that's
the
fake.
one.
I meant it's a real fake tree.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
came in a box.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you had to assemble it. It took a minute.
There you go. Assemble the
Gotta
plant.
pot
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
Leaf by leaf.
Yeah.
You know what I love about New Mexico? Hatch green chilies. Talk to me
Oh,
about green
yeah.
chilies, baby.
Yeah.
But they're
Green chili and
starting to
everything.
roast it right now, so
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
You just drive past Walmart and it just smells like green chili.
Yeah.
It's
So
Okay,
good.
explain
More, please.
more. Why is there just green chili smell everywhere?
It's,
Well, at this time of year they roast it, and like so every grocery store, market, whatever, like has these big.
fire pits.
Yeah,
Essentially,
and
they
they
like
just-
roast green chili.
and
Like
it-
they literally like put green chili in a big ass like
The cage, like a
And they-
bingo cage, like the biggest
and they
bingo
just have
cage you've
fire
ever
that's,
seen.
Like, they're roasted.
Fire underneath
It's just,
it.
like, hot as hell. And it smells good.
Turn it.
And it's just
Chilies.
like the whole state.
Andy,
Yeah.
Chilies.
Yeah.
B17. Bingo.
Andy, can we take all the money we make from Shirt Show and just fly Justin out every Sunday to commentate with us?
Let's
Yes.
get it. No, yeah.
I'm in.
That makes sense.
Anytime.
It's 100% worth it for me. I will take no anything.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Green chili.
So what does Hatch mean? Is that the
It's just a brand.
It's where it comes from. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
well, there's
from
like a
Hatch.
city, but that's where
Yeah.
like green chili like originated from, I think.
they don't hatch out of anything?
No, it's just the town's called
yeah,
Hatch.
it's the town's called Hatch, and so
Yeah.
it's like
I'm trying to see.
famous for the green chili. No hatching.
All right. So all I heard was that you got to go out and have fun and rip around on the dirt bike, and
Yeah.
she had to
Yeah.
pay taxes.
She did taxes. That's fun for her though.
Well, no, it's just it has to. Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
the story.
If
All
I did
right.
the taxes, we'd be screwed. So
oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah.
So other than home life, how's the shop going right now?
Good.
Good.
It's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking before you guys came on about shortages and all that stuff. Not to get too depressing, but are you guys feeling it there or no?
Oh yeah.
Hats, because we do embroidery, pretty significantly, and hats is the worst part for me.
It's
like
funny.
comfort colors, that was such a popular thing, and now I mean you can't get it at all. So
Yeah.
everyone got all interested in it, and now you can't get it, and so I
Yeah.
have to tell people to.
It's
buy
funny. A couple of our buddies there, Grizzly Wheeler and Matt from Relentless, I just hear them because I feel like they do a ton of hats. Like
Yeah.
we do hats, but like nowhere, like it's very, very small amount of hats.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely like screen printed apparel here, but
Yeah.
like they do a fuckload of hats. And it's funny, like I saw their post, both of them last week got like cases and cases of
Yeah, it's
like
I
coupons.
saw-
I
I
saw
saw
Nathan
Matt.
posted like a shitload of hats, and I was
I
like,
almost was like,
okay.
I'll buy
Yeah.
these from you so I
Yeah.
could just have them, it sucks.
Yeah, they're
Even
flipping them.
materials, though, like, I'm sure you guys have experienced like ink. Like ink was kind of like shitty for a second. I mean, I don't know with Monarch, but as far as like the stuff I was using, like a lot of Rutland, and Rutland was just like out. Like they were out for like 6 or 7 months, and then they finally got some in, and it's like every 5-gallon had a name on it, and I was like, oh my God. So like I basically got off 5-gallon, and that's it. Like that's all they had. And so that I experienced that a lot. As far as materials go, really just white ink, and then mixing colors like Wilflex is like Dunzo. Like I haven't been able to get any Wilflex for certain colors for mixing.
For a long time.
I check all the time, and it's just like, well, if you want a 5-gallon of like forest green Wilflex, and nobody wants a 5-gallon of it. So I was like, no, like I'm good. But other than that, it's been pretty like good. It's just a couple of supplies that's just been kind of crazy.
We don't, I don't buy enough Wilflex to have a good allocation, but I have a certain customer that requests Wilflex matte black, and I went to buy it and they told me no. Oh, that I could get a certain amount, but not enough to print the job I need to print.
Oh,
Right.
So it's kind of weird. I guess I have to pay somebody who doesn't need it, who's allocated more
Right.
to buy it than I buy it or something.
Yeah.
Justin, you got that poll. Get him some ink.
Yeah.
We use Wilflex a lot. I got
Yeah.
you.
Well, it's funny too. We got rid of all of our Wilflex, and we have all Monarch stuff. But I had some bucket colors that I still had like full buckets of that I didn't feel. Most of the stuff that we had, like half buckets and stuff, there was a place here locally that I just like gave it to. I was like, you guys can have this, because they were already using that stuff. But I had some full ones. I was like, oh, I'll keep these on the side because they're like ready for use colors. I was like, I could use these if I ever run out or whatever. And it's funny, there was a girl here who is in a punk band that came, and I taught her like how to print, and she has like a little basement press and everything.
Yeah.
And she was going to show up this week because she needed like new screens burnt. And I like got together a bunch of those colors, and I was just going to give them to her when she was here, because I was like, I'd rather these just be out of the way and gone. Right. And then I saw everybody posting this week how like Wilflex lemon yellow, they were like going to auction it off or put it on eBay or whatever. And I went and looked in that pile, and I had a whole gallon of lemon yellow Wilflex.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny he mentioned Wilflex black, because that's the only black I actually like to use. The matte black is like my favorite black to use. It's the most opaque, and it's the easiest to print and stuff. But there was a time where there wasn't any of it, and so I switched to a brand called Vortex. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's from GSG, and it's pretty good, but it's not even near the Wilflex. I had just a little bit the other day, and I threw it on the screen. I had like a 40 piece or something. I just threw it on the screen. And I was like, oh my God, it feels so much better. And I was like, I got to buy a 5-gallon, and I get online and it's like $50 more than it was like 6 months ago. I was like, shit, I don't know if I want this 5-gallon anymore, because it's just so expensive. Everything's just gone up so much. And so, I mean, yeah. And then you can't even get it's only gallons now. They don't even have 5 gallons anymore. So it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about this on the episode that comes out tomorrow. But from what I'm hearing from certain people is it seems like with the shortages, especially, that like by beginning of next year, like if you don't have a mixing system to make your colors, like you're not going to be able to get anything, because like bucket colors are basically going to be gone.
Yeah. I mean, even like there's a guy in town that does the Union stuff. He has like a Union mixing system, and he's like pretty much out of like the stock, like the main colors you need to make certain colors. Like he's out, and he's the guy, and so and he's my guy whenever I need gallons and stuff, because I normally just mix like quarts of stuff. And if I need a gallon of something, I'm like, I'll just have Mike do it. And Mike's like, yeah, I don't even have that anymore. And so it's, I've had to like kind of resort to just like making my own gallons, you know what I mean? Which is just not as consistent, because I'm not set up for that. So it's been kind of a pain in the butt a little bit, but.
Andy, what were you talking about last week? I've never used it, but like, what is that stuff that you can mix in with any color and make black?
Oh yeah. Monarch sells it. I can't remember what it's called. I'll go grab it.
I wonder if like, because if black is shortage and you have a shitload of other random colors, you could just make
Smart.
it black.
Yeah, I heard. So wasn't it to make a matte black? Don't you just add a little bit of puff?
Yeah, like a super small amount.
Or like suede.
Yeah,
suede. Yeah,
we have.
I'll grab
suede
that though, because that's a really good question. You got
Justin, hop in.
You got this, JL.
Oh,
hey, JLs and JLs.
What's up, man? Oh, okay. How are we doing, fam?
Now that Andy's gone, let's talk shit.
Hell yeah. Check out these zits. No one sees. Can you what? Do you put the video recording anywhere?
Yeah, we'll zoom in on your face HD.
Also, where is this? I haven't used Zoom a lot, but should we have hit record up here?
Nice.
Okay, got it.
We're already way beyond that. We've learned.
Andy mentioned it like 65 times. He's like, we have to hit record right here. And hey, listen, when I come here and you were going to come in and you're going to this, let's rehearse it and let's do that. He is very particular.
You guys are dialed, honestly. This is perfect.
Sure. I do it all the time.
We've done a few episodes where we found out that we weren't recording.
He's back.
And that's how I found out that it was this big.
Hey guys.
Hey, I gotta go. Look at that.
Uh-oh.
That's my boss.
Justin. Love you, buddy. Kiss him. Kiss him.
Kiss his beard.
Dylan, this is for you.
Bye, buddy.
Hey guys, thank you.
Have fun on the rest of your trip and safe flight.
Gotta let him out. Be right back.
Carry on. Well,
it's just us.
Yeah.
So tell us how you guys got started. I want it the way back.
Oh God. Okay. I'm going to do a real brief version. So
it's been so long.
I want the brief version, but I want the troubles and the issues to get you to where you are.
So I used to work for a broker. Essentially, I was doing design work. So I have a degree in design, and so I was working for this broker. We were doing design work, and it got to a point where we weren't getting our jobs on time and stuff. And I said, hey, like let's just like start printing. Like I'll put the money out. Like let's just like get a press. Like let's just figure it out. He didn't like that idea. He wanted to keep brokering. He didn't like the idea of having, more space to like have equipment and stuff, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, you know what, man, maybe we should just like split off. Like you do your thing. I'm going to get into printing. I think that there's money in it. And so I took out a loan, bought a Riley Hopkins like setup, like a whole Ryonet situation, got that going, learned how to print just on my own time. So I was actually working at a jewelry store and doing that and then printing at night.
Working in a jewelry store?
Yeah. My dad's actually a jeweler. So I actually worked for my dad. Yeah, for like a long time. And so I'm actually a jeweler too. But
so what, hold on, you got to pause. What did you do at the jewelry place?
I was a jeweler. So I actually
but what do you do as a jeweler?
Set stones, size rings.
Luckily I don't like jewelry. So
thank God. So I casted jewelry, like, from scratch, like from beads. I made rings and
all I picture is you in the back with like one of those big monocle things.
Yeah, dude, that was it. I had the big visor on and I was up in it. And like, I did a lot of like engraving and just like really anything. Like my dad's like really, really good at that stuff. So he taught me a lot of that stuff. Yeah. And so I did that. And then at night I would just print. And so I did that for a while. And then one day I was just like, we should, it came to a tipping point, where you're in your business where you're like, do I like tell this customer no, or do I say like, hey, yeah, I can do it, but I kind of mess up my day job a little bit doing it. And so I had a lot of those situations and it became a tipping point where I was like, I got to figure this out. And eventually I just said, you know what, I got like a decent sized job and I said, let's just do it. And so I went full time with it in 2010 and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And here we are. So, I mean, that's the brief version, and trials and tribulations. Obviously there was a lot, but
how did you get into brokering in the beginning?
Music actually. So I actually was in a band. This guy was a broker. He was like, his wife was a designer and they did a lot of brokering for a lot of like Christian bands. Like there's a band called O Sleeper. We did a lot of stuff for a band Spoken, like a lot of like bigger Christian artists and stuff. And we were brokering, we were basically designing shirts for them and then having them done through this other company called RL Screen Printing, actually, who is really legit. RL has been doing it. He used to be in that band Flee the Scene back in the day. Super cool dude, really, really good at printing. And we were going through him and so, yeah, I mean, that was essentially it.
So basically you were just getting, I've never been really into that world too much, but you were just basically getting as many bands as you could to want to work with you. And you're just like handling everything.
Right. So I was basically like, I would either bands would hit us up and I would work with them directly and I would design anything they wanted, or if I couldn't do it, I would facilitate that and make sure that somebody could get that done for them. And I would put in the order and I would, if they were local, I would deliver it. If not, then we would have it shipped directly to them. And I was like kind of like a designer / salesperson. So I was doing a lot of that stuff, but it got to a point where it was like, dude, we're like, we're so backed up with jobs and like, we could just be doing this ourselves. But I don't know. It was just like a little bit of like, well, we should just keep doing it this way. And then it was me saying like, well, why don't we just like better ourselves and like kind of get ahead of it a little bit. So,
right. Did you run into that issue a lot as kind of a middleman where the printer messed something up and you have to kind of scold them or
to be completely nice and I'm not trying to like be like, oh, he was great, but like to be completely honest, RL was so good. Like he rarely, if there was a mess up, it was probably my fault. Like, to be honest, like he never really messed anything up. If there was an issue, he was the first one to say, hey, like, let me fix it. Like, let me do whatever I can. And so he was so awesome to work with, honestly. But there wasn't really any problems. Like, I think maybe like once or twice we had like a sizing issue or something, but it was probably our fault, to be honest. So
did you have to go give a fresh dose of Benadryl to the kids?
Well, fruit snacks, same thing. You just shove it in a fruit snack.
Right. I'm kind of running into that a little bit here, like throughout the years. There's people that come to us that want to be a broker or want to do whatever, but they don't know enough. Like they know about screen printing, but they don't know enough about it to where they kind of shoot themselves in the feet all the time because they're like,
people.
Right. But I mean, like there's one that we're dealing with, not to name names, but it's just like they come at us like, here's an order. And then we have to be like, hey, there's actually things in this order that like aren't possible. You know what I mean? Like with the print in it or whatever. And it's like, and then you go back and forth on emails for like a week. And it's not like we're not getting right back to them because we are. It's just like they end up thinking about it for a day or two and then they email back and then whatever. And then at the end of it, they're like, oh yeah, but we still need these printed by Thursday. And it's like, dude, it's
even though you
Tuesday.
lost that week.
So
like
we do a lot of, not to cut you off, but we do a lot of contract work. That's like, I would say like probably 40% of what we do. And in that, like basically attesting to what you're saying is like, we have a lot of situations where there's a lot of break in communication. Unfortunately, the broker isn't aware that things aren't possible with printing or embroidery or vice versa, whatever it may be. And so we go back and forth. And then we're killing our deadline by that point, because by the time we get to the point where it's like, we've agreed on something and they've, gotten to their customer and agreed with whatever we're going to do with the customer. It's like, yeah, dude, we're 2 days out from like the deadline at this point. And so that's the hardest part about working with contract work is like
when they're not printers,
they're not printers and they don't really understand. And I try to like have like an open mind with the fact that they don't understand that. And I try to be like more, I guess like soft and like work with them a little bit. But sometimes it's just like, dude, like, we got people that have waited like 2 weeks for their jobs. And then we have this like contract dude that wants his job in like 3 days. And it's like the whole thing.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. I mean, the funny thing is like with us, with a lot of direct to customer, like you're going back and forth on emails and artwork and all this other stuff. Like artwork comes first. It's like, if you get me the artwork, let's get it fully dialed, get it approved. And then we'll start working on like the invoice is the quickest, easiest part. It's like, what do we got to set up? Here's the invoice, pay it. And then turnaround starts. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you paid the invoice. Now your 10 business days or whatever starts from here. But I feel like with the other side of it, like the contract world or like these brokers, it's like to them, it starts when they first start talking to you because they already took the order from the customer. And that's where the trouble comes in.
When they talk to the customer rather than when they give the job to us. And so they probably had the order, a week with the customer waiting for garments to come in, all that stuff. And then they give it to us with a week turnaround. I'm like, well, we still have to have the 10 days turnaround, but it's just that part sucks. And I know I'm, with ordering stuff, things take longer now too. So you have to put that in consideration. Most people have been okay with, bumping out another half a week or whatever, but that part sucks is when they've wasted a week doing whatever they're doing. And then we get screwed by having to do it fast.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever thought of splitting a contractor into two different types? Like, so we have contract work with it, which is just, standard turnaround, 7 to 10 days, sort of like you're talking about now. It's more like 10 days, but standard turnaround. But we also have a preferred one, and that preferred, they pay more, but we have an agreement where your stuff gets to cut in line. So like your turnaround is 3 days or whatever, you know what I mean? But that's worth more money, isn't it? And so if you're able,
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, and they're okay with paying that even. They understand, like, I'll pay extra to get this quicker. And so have you tried that ever?
We
only really have two consistent brokers we use. And so, I mean, they're very busy with what we do. So it's really only two separate people. But I mean, that does make sense, because if I was them, I'd be willing to pay a little more to ensure like I had it quicker, just so they can get their customers crap out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, we essentially we still charge them a rush. Like if it's like, hey dude, like you need this within a certain period of time, we charge them a rush. But it's like, it's so tough because, you want to be like, oh yeah, like we can just easily charge them a rush. But it's like, I feel so bad for our customers who have been waiting so long, and I'm like, and I guess that's just like I don't know what that is in me, but like, I'll be like, well, okay, cool. Yeah, we can do a rush for them. But I'm like, well, dude, so-and-so has been waiting for 2 weeks for their stuff. And I'm like, I'd rather just get their stuff done and not take this rush. And so that's a battle we've been kind of going back and forth with a little bit recently, is it's like, do we want to take these rushes? Because there's so many rush jobs right now. I don't know what it is. Everybody wants their stuff yesterday. And so we've been kind of fighting with that a little bit. We're like, do we want to take this rush, or do we want to get the guy that's been waiting for their stuff for 2 weeks to get their stuff done?
It's such a hard choice. We've never really said no to a job. Really ever.
Yeah.
Now that was always our thing when we were smaller. We never said no. And I mean, this last year we're we've never really said no, but we've kind of been more realistic with timelines, and most everyone's been okay. But we're do we have to be more diligent in saying that, because it's just so busy right now,
Yeah. See, we've talked about this a couple of times, but I definitely feel like it's appropriate here. But it's kind of we were at the same point where when we were younger, we wanted contract because it was nice to get the pay, and it was nice to have the filler jobs and everything else. But then you get to the point too, like you're saying, where you have loyal customers that you want to do the best possible job you can for them and get them out in a good, timely manner. But then you have this big contractor coming at you and being like, hey, I need this out this week. And then you're kind of trying to play both worlds, and you're trying to make it work for both of them. But in reality, you kind of end up screwing over your good client that's direct to you.
They'll be understanding, and which sucks.
Right.
That's going to happen too, though. And that's my whole thing is I'm like, well, we could pull this once or twice, but after a while they're going to be like, dude, screw this. I'm just going to go to the guy down the street because he's not going to put so-and-so in front of me. And so, it's I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm if it's between a contractor, the guy that I've been doing stuff for even a year, a guy that's come back to me consistently for a year, I'm probably going to go with that guy over the contractor just because. Yeah.
And that's pretty much what we did is I just basically got the idea in my head of fuck it.
Yeah.
And we had 4 decent sized contractors we were doing stuff with. And I just literally the next day, called each of them and was like, hey, thanks for everything you've done for us. But we take us off your list, stop sending us stuff. And then it was scary because like I said, it's nice at the end of every month to get a good paycheck, but such a huge weight was lifted off of our shoulders of we don't have these hard deadlines anymore. I feel like it was maybe a month of the schedule being what did we do? But then after that, we had so much more time to dedicate to direct to our customers that they were fucking stoked that their job before was taking a full 2 to 3 weeks to get done. Yeah. And now it's done in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And they're like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And then they reorder more. And then you have more time to talk to them about new items or whatever. Well, and then eventually your schedule fills.
You're testing your own, printing your own merch or testing.
Right. We're quality, dude. I mean, there's so many times where I'm I got a broker job and I'm dude, I just got to bust this out quick. We don't have time to we get it reg and I'm good enough. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where I hate doing that. Even if it's a broker, even if it's my name's not on it, I'm dude, I fucking hate that a whole lot. And so whenever I'm doing but then what happens is that starts to bleed into your customers a little bit. And so you're okay, it's been 3 weeks. We just need to get this job done. And it's this guy knows what to expect as far as quality goes. And then I'm over here rushing it. And then you find yourself halfway through the run, damn, this just doesn't look right. Or this is off or whatever. And so you're going back and trying to fix these things when really it's just a matter of time management. If I just had a little bit more time, I probably wouldn't have even gotten to that point. I would have been just straight good with it the whole way. Right. And so, that's something that these past 2 weeks I've noticed a whole lot with me is like, just like rush. And I'm like, dude, I like kind of go crazy a little bit when I do that.
It's hard to live that way. Yeah.
It is. So like you get to a point where you're just like, dude, this is like, what am I doing? Like, am I even like doing what I want to do? Like, or am I just like, am I just a machine at this point? Am I just kind of a robot, like just getting stuff done? And it's like, to an extent we are, we are kind of like manufacturers, but we need to like uphold ourselves to a certain level of quality. And I think that that's something that I try to do. And I feel like that's the reason why I find myself there on like a Sunday night, like setting up for the next week or whatever, because I want to have that level of quality that I probably wouldn't have had if I didn't do that setup on a Sunday night. So,
right.
Yeah. I'm with you. We print a contractor order just as if we would print a retail customer. I mean, we want it to look good. You can't, when you said, oh, good enough, I feel the same way sometimes, like, oh, it is good enough. Let's go. Yeah. But we find ourselves changing out colors or tweaking it still just to make it good because our name is on it still. And I don't want to.
Well, the other part of it is it just like fucking hurts your soul to see something go out or something.
Yeah. Like when I look at shit, it just sucks.
Right. Like, you can do like in a tweak in like 10 minutes, you can fix it.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's important too, I think what's important too is that when you accept a rush order, and if we have a preferred contractor that we will, let them cut in line and get their job done, that can't push out anybody else. You can't then not complete a job that's due for like a regular customer, like you were talking about, because that's not fair. And so, I don't know if that means staying late, then you stay late, or if that means coming in on a weekend. And I guess that's what that rush fee is for when you charge it. But And if somebody asks, like, because sometimes I hate charging a rush fee, I feel terrible. Like, look,
it's an awkward situation. Yeah.
It is awkward because it's just extra money. But at the same time, if they ever ask, or if I ever really think about it, and we have to pay, let's say we're staying late, an hour late, well, that's time and a half, and so it really does cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, and your employees start to like get sick of it because you're the guy that makes that call. So they're just like, okay, dude, we'll like stick around for another hour and we'll do this. And it's like really, it's no sweat off their back, like to stick around or not. Like they're just basically having to stick around because you told them to stick around. And so like, you got to like hook them up with extra cash or whatever you got to do to like make that like right for them too. And so, it really does trickle down. It's not just like the one thing, it trickles down to all facets for sure.
We just had a long discussion about this over the past 2 weeks. And it was kind of, I have that pain, like you were just saying, of like, I decided to take a rush, or I decided to take a big job that's going to eat up a couple days even. And I'm just so used to like being like, yes, this is what we're doing. We're taking this. And then I add it to the schedule, or someone orders the blanks or whatever for that job. And the printers have no idea until they just see on the schedule that like, fucking Wednesday and Thursday are this job now. And they're looking at it as like, well, what is this job? Am I going to have to stay late? When does it have to be done by? And all this other stuff. And I just kind of got myself in trouble of being like, not communicating too well to the printers of like, this is what's happening. Or even, the end of the dryer, quality control, or anybody like.
Well, just because it happened so quick, the order is just put in so quick, and you're just like fast. Yeah.
So basically what I, and Chris is the one that brought it up to me, was just kind of like, we need to really instill morning meetings. Like, and me and Andy have talked about this forever about me not doing morning meetings because it would be a fucking shit show.
I like yell at people in the morning and just tell them what we're going to do, but it's not really a meeting.
Yeah.
Well, Andy does like a nice morning meeting, like one you
I know. I've seen them. I mean, we don't have that many people to like do it. See, and then we have like embroidery department, and they're the print side, and so I mean, he could talk with whatever he does in the back.
To add to what you're saying though, as far as communication, like we're both owners and we both should know what the hell's going on. But like at the end of the day, she's the one that takes the orders, and I am essentially just the print guy. I see the emails, I can see all that stuff too. But at the end of the day, what happens is sometimes an order will come in and I didn't see it or whatever. And then kind of like what you're saying with your guys are like, well, what the hell is this? I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, what are we doing? Like, what is going on? And she's like, oh yeah. So, it's gotta be done like tomorrow. No big deal. It's like 400 pieces. And I'm just like, okay. And then I'm like, hey, my other guy, like we got to do this. Like it has to be done and by tomorrow. And he's in, thank God he's so cool. He's always cool with it. But I'm like, yeah, so I get it. I get that like frustration almost. You're like, well, what is going on?
Well, my thing is like in my mind of an owner, and you try to like take the human aspect out of things. You look at things as like systems and processes and like, okay, if it's on the schedule, Like it shouldn't matter to anybody because it's just another line item on the schedule. It's like this is what you have to do in the day. But realistically, there's like things that they should be prepared for, like mentally, of like, this is what we're going to do or whatever.
Yeah.
So long story short, like 2 weeks ago, we did this big job that we had to get out and, we had to truck it. Like I had to run a U-Haul and drive it and all this other stuff. And it kind of came up in like a thing between me and Chris in the meeting of like, we probably should have told everybody like more about that and like sat down and figured out how we were going to logistically get this out, because
you think of folding, packing, if it's so many boxes, like that takes so much time that you just don't even think about, and that's like stuff that you have to probably just crank out right away at the end before you pack the truck.
Well, now we're doing a job very similar to that again. And I basically grabbed Randy and Zach and Megan and a couple other people. And I was like, hey, this is what's happening. Like next week on the schedule is this. Are you cool with your schedule between now and then? Do you feel like you can get that done? So that way on Wednesday, you can do this job Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we want to ship it on Friday. And they were like, yeah, we could do that. That's cool. And then I got a temp for the end of the dryer just to have an extra person.
Yeah.
And I got another temp to pull shirts off on press. And now I feel like way better about the situation because I talked to everybody about it. Everybody's on the same page. They all know what's going on. Even though I could have just put it on the schedule, now everybody's mentally prepared for something that's different in the flow than normally happens.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to is communication. I think that anything is achievable as far as everybody getting it done, as long as everybody knows that there's something happening. You know what I mean? You have to communicate those things to people. And that's why, like what I was saying, like my morning meeting is like, my guy comes in and I'm like, okay, we're doing this, and this. Realistically, we're probably not going to get this and done. And he's like, okay, cool. And I'm like, but it'd be cool if we got this and this and this done too. And he's like, but I do that every single morning. And that's just so, and he's like, one day he was like, well, why do you do that all the time? And I was like, it's just as much for you as it is for me. Because like, if I list it out and like, in my mind, like I'm also aware of what's going on, because sometimes I'm like, I come in and I'm like, I think everything's due. Like every single day, I'm like, I look at the bottom, I'm like, all this shit's due. Like I just look at everything and like, it's not. And so I have to like list it out for me realistically in a time. Like I'll look at this, I'm like, this is going to take 2 hours. It's going to take an hour. This is going to take 3 hours. And so like, I kind of go through all those things and I list that out for him. And I was like, it's not only for you, it's for me too. And he was like, oh, that makes sense. And so like, every day I do that. I mean, he's used to it now. It makes sense, but
I mean, I fully get that too, though, because it's that thing of like, I might take on a job where I'm like, oh, this is a sweet job. It is kind of shitty to throw it into the mix when everybody else is busy. But like you said, is like, you have to do this, but like mentally in the back of our minds, it's like, as soon as I say it to someone in the shop that gets it or knows what's going on, and I can see their reaction in their face of like, all right, cool. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Yeah. It immediately makes you feel better of like, all right, we can do this.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you hold on to it and you just like wait for them to like find out they have to do that job, it's like, oh, fuck, they're going to be pissed. But realistically, if you're like, hey, we're going to do this, and you can see that they're pumped to do it just as much as you are, then it's like, oh, all right, like we can do this. Like we can get this done.
Everybody's on board. Yeah. It's not like you're like alone in that situation. You're like, everybody wants to do it and get it done. And I mean, yeah. And it's hard to find people that are even like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just hard to find like a crew that's just down to do things.
Right.
Because
someone who's not there 9 to 5 to just get the fuck out and get the paycheck.
Yeah. There's in this game, there's a lot of those that want to just get the hell out. And I get it, dude. I'm like, if I didn't own the business, I'd probably be the same way. But like, it's tough. But when you find those guys, you're like, hell yeah, dude. Like this guy's wrong. So
Dylan,
Andy, walk us through your perfect morning meeting.
I was sort of going to say something about that. And do you want me to just run your morning meetings for you? Like you could have this TV. Yeah. You could have a TV and it could be on wheels. You could roll me in and it's just me. It kind of looks like this, just right here. And then I just go over the production meeting. Yeah. We talk.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I can do that for you. It'll be at about, ours ends at about like 8 Central Time, about 8 roughly. What's that? So it'd be 9 o'clock. Does that work?
Sure. Perfect.
I do have a picture of goals of our production meeting. It's on a dry erase. It's a terrible photo. So, okay. So goals of our production meeting. You ready?
Yep.
Discover issues.
What does discover issues mean?
So let's say there's a rush order, or let's say there's somebody added on to their order And it came these days, it comes from who knows where, California, 3-day ship or whatever.
In like a tiny little bag that you.
Yeah.
In a
one
bag.
trip for like 400 boxes or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And, and we're waiting on it, and so we get UPS at 11, and we know that job has to run today. Well, it's just sort of a heads up that, look, we're going to have a job that needs to check in first off the truck, and then it's going to print, and so we're discovering issues, and that's an issue. So that's an issue that we don't have all the shirts that day, yet it's still due. Mm-hmm. And we've warned the customer usually because, and so they understand, we try to set their expectations. Like, look, you added 5 mediums and they're coming from California, but still it's always our fault, and so we're trying to, we're trying to get the shirt here so we can print it. So that's one of the things. The next on the list is team building. Like the meeting starts off, not just we're discovering issues. We're just sort of shooting the shit and we're talking about our day or whatever, or that it's hot outside or cold outside or pretty, or what'd you have for dinner?
A bunch of people stating obvious things in a circle. That sounds awesome. Sure was cold out today, huh?
People sometimes like to talk about the weather, Dylan. Let's see. We have, so we're prioritizing our print. So sometimes as we go through the lineup, we recognize a job that maybe has to go first, or let's say a job is going to get bagged or something like that, bagged and tagged, and we need that printed first. And so we're just trying to prioritize the lineup. We are delegating tasks, like you just never know. And so let's say we're expecting 80 boxes that day, because we get, you get the notifications on how many you're supposed to receive. And it doesn't always include everything because there's contractors and stuff like that. But let's say we're supposed to receive 80 boxes. Well, that's way too much for one person to check in. And so we're going to say, well, as soon as the truck gets here, Brooke's going to need some help. And so, isn't that good? Like, Cori, what you said a minute ago, or maybe it was JL, you said something about communicating and like how important that is, just communicating. And so we are communicating the fact that we're expecting a lot of UPS boxes. Brooke's going to be buried when they show up. She's going to need some help, instead of being surprised when they come and she's all of a sudden like, hey, I need help, but there's no help.
Right.
I'm almost done.
I want to go back to real quick. You said that you get notifications of how many boxes are coming in a day. Is that like an app thing, or is that just you checking like SNS and saying how many boxes?
Like when you get the email saying like, oh, your order shipped or whatever.
Well, the thing is I've heard of people like having an app or whatever that says anytime anything, I don't know, in the world or whatever, it's getting shipped to you. Like if it's the post office or whatever, they're getting a notification saying, oh, something's shipping to me today.
I've never heard of that.
I know you could sign up for that stuff, like for like USPS and stuff, but I didn't know like it would be like a constant thing.
Yeah, I didn't know. That's why I was wondering.
It's SNS that there's a Freight Advantage program, which maybe you're probably a part of. And SNS tells you, I don't know the answer to this because I've never been notified, but Joanne is. And she's notified every day. And so is Brooke. And so I'm going to ask her. But yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
You can definitely get that.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you guys get your blanks from?
Mainly SNS. Yeah. If I have to, Sanmar, because we get them next day from Sanmar. They're in Phoenix. And so
there's a courier service that
so if I need something next day, I can go there. But, they're more expensive than SNS. But that's the main one.
Hello.
Hey, you're on the Shirt Show, by the way.
Hang out.
We're talking about that notification you get in the morning of how many boxes are going to show up. Where's that? That comes from SNS, right?
Yeah.
Where is it at? Like, where does it?
End of conversation.
From the Freight Advantage overview.
Okay. And can you please help us a little bit further? Where's that at? So you go to SNS, you go to the Freight Advantage, click on that link, and there's an overview.
No, it should be in there somewhere. I don't know which one it is. There's a bunch of things in there.
And good answer.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll set up a link in the podcast so people can figure it out. Right. All right. Thanks, JoJo. Say goodbye.
Bye. Yeah, I'll help her throughout. I didn't know that existed. That's the first time I've ever heard of that. So that's
also, how dare you call her like that?
Well, I mean, there's, I think it's good to know like how many boxes you're expecting. I mean, to know that in the morning, that's pretty cool, right?
Like I'm acting super like I don't know because I don't deal with that. Chris deals with that, and he always knows.
He probably knows.
He always knows like, oh, there's 40 boxes, 80 boxes showing up today.
That's like a huge issue with us too, because we'll get jobs where I'm like, you know, like it's pieced out, like some's from SAMR, some's from SNS, and like
that part sucks.
And that part super sucks because I'll be like in the middle of printing, or I got my guy, I'm like, hey, pull the so and so job, and he's like, all right, cool. And he goes through it and it's like half the order. And I'm like, well, where the hell's the rest of it? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. And
if you're mixing orders, the PO is different. And then,
but even still like I'll go to her and I'm like, how many boxes is it? She's like, well, it's 2 from here and it's 1 from here. And so like, it could be difficult at times for sure. So that's honestly that shit. If we could like figure that out, that'd be a huge help for sure.
Yeah. My favorite is when we get a shitload of stuff in UPS. And then there's that one bag that comes from SNS that's at the post office.
Or in your mailbox. Yeah. You don't know what's sitting there. I hate that.
Because where our building is, we can't have a mailbox. So we have to go to the post office. Everything's at the PO box in the post office.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
You don't get mail?
Mm-mm. Like I get mail, but it's at the post office. Like I have to go to the post office.
Because it's so like
because of where it's at, like the location.
Rural.
Well, I say that like it's a big deal. It's like a fucking block away. It's not that big a deal, but it's
I mean, it's kind of a big deal because you got to fucking drive there.
Right. Well, I've tried like 30 times talking to the postmaster to get a post office box put out front because I want to just like drop shit in it or have them drop it off there. But they won't deliver on this road. They won't change a route for anybody. They won't do whatever. And yearly I have to fill out a form saying that I live in town so that I can get a free PO box. I don't care. I don't need a free fucking PO box.
Yeah. Just want it at your.
I have no choice. They're just like, no, we won't deliver it to you. So you have to have a PO box. So I have to go there every day to get the mail.
Do you live on a mesa or something?
I live on a mountain that's whacked off.
Whacked off mountain.
No, it's a big pain in the ass, but it is what it is. That's why I like talking so much shit about our post office because they always get angry when we go in there.
Yeah.
But it is funny going in there getting packages from people like you that say like, you know, it says like tiny wiener upstate merch or whatever, and then they hand me the package and they're like,
yeah, this guy. It's the sex shop guy again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Last couple things on this goals of production meeting. Special anything, example of video. So like last week we had somebody that wanted to shoot a video of their shirts being printed. Okay. And so we put a little, we have a tag we put on the box that says video, but we want to make sure that usually if there's a video, we have to coordinate it, right? So it's going to be at a certain time. And so let's say we're going to run the job at 11. Well, we have to let the customer know to show up at 11.
Right.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah. I mean, it's good and bad because you probably hate it because you say be here at 11 and they're not here. And it's on press.
Or the job just doesn't start on time.
Or it's just like they're in the way. You know, that happens. Like people will be in the way, or like shit happens and the job's not going super smooth at first. And it's like, okay, can you like go smoke a cig outside or something while we figure this out? Like, yeah.
I get people that hit me up on Instagram that like place an order and they're like, hey, can you make a video, like a run through video of you printing our stuff and then post it to your Instagram and like talk it up?
Oh,
and I'm like, no, like I only post stuff when I want to post stuff. That's pretty much my answer. Is just like, yeah, if it's a rad print and it's something I want to post about, yeah, I'll post it. But I'm not going to do it because you requested it. Like we've had people be like, oh, we'll give you an extra like $40 or something. I'm like,
that's crazy. We've never had that. That's
I'm not.
People will be like, why don't you take pictures? And I'm like, dude, I'm just like, everybody always says like, you don't use your Instagram, and I'm like, man, I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't care. Like, I'm just like, whatever, dude. Like I post every once in a while, but I'm like, I mean, I print really cool stuff. Like I would say fairly often, but like, it's just like half the time I print it, I'm printing it like in such a rush that it's like printed, boxed, and person grabbed it before I even knew what the hell happened. Like, it's like,
he's also such a perfectionist too. Like he'll point out something bad or wrong in every single job and it drives me crazy. And it's his own personal Instagram. So I don't have, if I was at control of it, she would get posted way more.
She doesn't. So
but,
I actually had somebody I was talking to earlier today, because I posted that thing about questions. Someone asked like, oh, who's going to be on the show? And I said, you guys. And they were like, oh, they have such good, clean prints.
Oh, thanks.
So,
person.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Good 3 photos of freaking years.
They're like, in 2019, the last time they posted, those were super clean. Yeah.
Super clean back then.
I have so many pictures on my phone. I sent it to him like, please God, post something here. And
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe this is it for me, guys.
Yeah, this was the push that you needed.
I needed this because you guys are all saying I need to do it.
Right.
So.
See, the thing is like me and Andy have had this discussion a couple times, but it's like the reason why Instagram works for us is because it's us doing it. You know what I mean? It's like we post when we want to post, or Andy posts when he's having feelings. And that's what works. That's what people want to see. They want to see him talk about his day. They want to see like what we're doing. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, I've got to post 3 times today.
Right.
I got to do it at this time.
Stuff, man. Like, and like you said, it's real. Like, I like when people post and it's like raw, and it's like, this is exactly how they're feeling. They're not like, oh yeah, 3:00. I need to post this like super like doctored photo of like whatever the hell I did today, or like a spatula sitting in an ink bucket. Like, nobody cares, dude. Like, just post like what, like, you got to mess up. Like, that's what I appreciate about Andy's posts sometimes, is like, you post the real, like, raw stuff that honestly makes me feel better about my day, because I've had a bad day and I'm like, cool, I'm not the only one that like had some crazy shit happen today. And so it's relatable for me. You know what I mean? Like, those are the posts I like. That's why I follow a lot of print shops that do super real posts. And then there's like the other guys that do the super curated stuff. And I'm like, cool, dude, you're really good at printing. Like, you only post the good stuff. Like, that's awesome. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if
people
you're
are just trying to do the algorithm.
Yeah.
And if Instagram, if you're busy without Instagram and, and that's your thing, then go with that. I mean, it used to be, I think Instagram doesn't have the reach that it used to. And so, I mean, I don't post that much anymore either. I think that sometimes it's therapeutic for me to post, and I'll do it, like I'll just do it because it feels good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, or if like something special happens and we're working on a project, that's fun. But I don't post anymore like we used to. It's just.
I know. I actually kind of know now that you said that. I noticed that. I mean, and I'm not like, oh, they're not busy, or oh, they're not doing cool shit.
Usually when you are busy is like, when you're not.
Yeah,
posting.
I'm like, dude, like they got shit going on. Like, they don't have time to like post this like cool, super cool photo of like the auto, their M&R, like 30 color M&R doing some shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you guys are just like busy, you know what I mean? And I appreciate that. I don't ever judge anybody for being absent on the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
See, it's hard for me because I live in like both worlds. Is like nowadays, again, like you said, like I'm so busy that I don't have time, or I'm in the office and I'm not out in the shop as much to like take photos of every cool print that leaves here. Like, there's prints that I see like, oh fuck, that one's coming up next week. That wouldn't be really cool to like document or whatever. And then the week goes by and it was printed, shipped, box, gone, everything. And I'm like,
before you know it. Yeah.
I have no idea. But the problem is that I said I'm torn is because when I started back in, with the other business and the upstate, like I started when MySpace started. So like everything was like social media, basically. It was like, all right, I need to sell on social media to like get sales in the door. Like on MySpace, it was hitting up bands every day to like whatever. And then it was Facebook, and then it was Instagram, whatever. So like most of my business that I've gotten, like a lot of these cool clients that I have, are from social media. So like to a degree, it's like I'm on it and I'm social, but I'm using it as the tool. I'm using it as social media. Like, it's there for me to reach out, talk to people, DM, communicate, whatever. Right. I'm not on it to be like, okay, I need to get this many followers and I need to post this many times a day to like beat the algorithm. I'm just there because that's where I can outreach to clients that want to work with us and be like, hey, this is the best obvious like portfolio I have of like, look through my page. It shows you everything I do daily.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of like, I love doing it. And it sucks when I see like new things it's doing to like make it harder for people.
Yeah.
Like one thing I noticed the other day was like, I can't like reshare anybody's post now or whatever, because they want you to do some like reshare tool or something. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Like the little airplane thing?
There's like a thing now, like if you were scrolling through and there's a customer, like a beer, like a brewery or whatever, and they are showing off the shirt that you had, and you go to like repost it in your stories, it won't let you do that now.
You have to have an app.
You have to make a new post and then click on a thing that says like reshare thing, and then you have to go through and like post it again.
They're saying unless they tag you.
Right. Unless they tag you. It's like,
oh, that, yeah. They have to tag you. Yeah.
It's just annoying.
Like a story or like an actual feed?
I usually do it in stories. Like I try not to steal people's photos and put them in my actual feed, but like stories, I do way more than I do actual posts. Like during the day, I'll post on stories all day long just because it's like, oh, this is what I'm doing, whatever. And to me, that's more fun because then people immediately like DM you and then we start a conversation about something and we bullshit and talk, whatever.
So I think you need to have the feed too, because it is more like a portfolio. So someone's like, oh, this guy hasn't posted in 7 months. Like, are you alive? Because the story goes away in 24 hours, even though you're posting all the time. It's like, oh, this shop's, who knows?
But it's so crazy because like I'll post a photo on my store or on my feed and I'll get like maybe 100 likes or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, nobody saw that. But then I post a story and I get like 500 views. And I'm like, I mean, to me, I'm like, because like I'm a story guy. Like I'm like, dude, I don't even go through the feed anymore. I'm just like,
I don't really either. Like I just go through stories constantly.
And because it's fast, it's easy. And honestly, that's the most relevant. That's the most current that somebody's going to be half the time is in a story because it's like they're posting it like that. And so, I mean, because I'll go through my feed and there'll be like stuff from 2 days ago. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this was a flyer for a show that happened 2 days ago. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? That show happened 2 days ago. So, I don't know, man. Like it to everybody's different. Like she's in a whole different world with Instagram. Like she's like doing the curation stuff for like her brand. And so I think that's like, we just have two different views as far as like what Instagram should be used for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Talk about that. Talk about your side brand.
Well, as if we're not busy enough and I pick up a bunch of shit that we shouldn't even be doing, at all. But so we bought our building. We moved in to the building last February, 2020. And I mean, it was a much bigger place. It was double the size of our other one. And we actually purchased the lot and everything. And it had like a storefront in the front. And eventually I was like, oh, I want to, start a brand. We have the tools, obviously, to make shit all day long. And then, COVID happened or whatever in March. And so I was planning on opening it in May because I launched it in February, right when we moved in. And I was going to have like a big store opening, market, vendor fair, whatever in May. Decided not to do it because whatever. And then, so we finally opened the store this past May on the inside. And, it's challenging at times because people come in and I'm the one at the front. And, I email people all day long. I talk to people on the phone, people text me, whatever. And so sometimes, people come in and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so talked out, from people, but I have to put on like a retail face, which is very different because I've never worked retail in my life. And so, like you have to do the whole fake smile thing. But so that was a big adjustment, getting used to people walking in, not for Screen Kings, but for the NoCo store. And so it's cool to see how many people actually like come in and care, because our shop's in a really industrial area, like a manufacturing industrial area. So it's pretty odd to have like a clothing store there, but it's inside the shop, so whatever. But the hard part is it gets put on the back burner when Screen Kings is busy, which is fine because it's more like a hobby anyway. But it's been pushed back for like months because the summer was so busy, and I mean it's just so damn busy still. And it's hard to push time away to do like cool shit, like even Screen Kings merch we haven't printed in like a year, and to do the things you want to do. That's just the only bummer is it's hard to push real customers aside for stuff that is your own, so that's kind of a challenge because I have so many designs I want to do, but it's hard to squeeze it in.
Yeah. She'll be like, oh, we have this cool no-coast thing. And I'm like, that's really really but like we have like 400 people.
And I would never put it in front of anybody because it's not that important, but it's more of just like a creative bummer that I don't get to.
And that's the stuff we like to do is like our own stuff. Like, you want to do your own stuff, but it's like, you can't,
you don't really get to do fun things.
You can't put somebody on the back burner because you want to print this like super cool shirt for yourself.
You need to charge yourself a rush fee. There you go.
I know.
He's done.
Well, that's when he has to stay late, and that's the bummer.
Like No Coast Nights is like, it's like a Sunday from like noon to like 2 a.m. is just No Coast.
Well, usually, and that's when we started. It was like January, which is usually the slow time, and so we were able to crank out all this stuff. And we're like, okay, cool, launch it February, and then shit. Well, last year was different because we did have some free time in the middle of the year, you know, up until like May. So we printed a bunch of shit in March and April. And then, you know, I don't know how it was for you guys. I'm sure the same, but like once May came, it just was busy the rest of the year, like psychotically. So yeah, I mean, it'll get there again. It's just, and I kind of get burnt out, you know, you get just busy and you don't want to do anything, period. So
well, I've been kind of like toying with the idea, and I've talked to a couple people about the whole like shirt of the month club and all this other stuff, just to like explore different parts of this industry. Cause like I like to look into everything, and I looked really hard into the shirt of the month, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool to do. And then I talked to people like Justin and other people that do it a lot, you know, and that you look at the shiny side of like, oh, you could get all these subscribers and you could get like whatever. But then there's the shit side of it of like, you know, size changes and this and like that and like refunds or whatever else. And I'm like, you know what, like
tracking orders sucks. It's very time consuming. I do it all the time. And I mean, as if I'm not, you know, busy, like with the embroidery and, you know, we have a printer plotter. We do that a lot too. And so, I mean, it's just adding in those things sometimes just a bummer.
Well, I was like, I don't know how I want to do this, but I do want to make some cool, like upstate New York style shirts or whatever. So basically I had a buddy go through and like make a bunch of designs basically. And I was like, all right, well, I could either use these for shirt of the month, or I could use these for just like a brand thing I want to do. So pretty much I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up doing kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to do a storefront, but I just at least want to do an online store and try to like push it and like test different markets as far as like, do I dive into the Facebook ad thing, or do I just do like localized New York things, or go to like fairs or whatever else to do some kind of push thing for it.
Do vendor stuff all the time. And like, you know, I think it's just like, I'm in like a weird, we bought a house this summer too. So we're like moving. And so I'm just like super burnt on everything. And so people have asked us like to do pop-ups, which I used to love. That was my favorite thing. Like we used to do live printing all the time and we loved doing that. But it's just, I think when you just get in like a weird rut of just being so busy, you just don't really have like, you know, desire to go out on your weekends when you don't have to. But I love doing that stuff and meeting new people. I mean, it's just all about, I like meeting new people. I like, you know, being out there. And so it's fun to meet new people that come to the store, even online. You know, the No Coast thing, it's only been going for a year, but it has so many followers. Like it's blown up pretty crazy, like way more than I even thought it would. I thought it was just going to be like a little local brand or whatever. But, I mean, it's pretty popular, and that's why I feel like shit, because I can't ever do anything more. And people are probably like, well, where's your new shit? And so, you know, they don't.
How did you get started with that though? Like, did you just decide you wanted to do it, and then did you make designs and then have people model them and then just kind of let that snowball, or did you have a plan?
No plan.
We just
I'm pretty like.
We just got online and had like a bunch of designers make designs, and then we like posted it, and it was like super Southwest based, and then it was like kind of New Mexico themed. There's a ton of brands that do New Mexico stuff here, but it was like, I didn't want
it to be like total New Mexico. It wasn't like Southwest.
Yeah, it wasn't like super New Mexico. Like it had like somebody that didn't live here could wear it. Like it wasn't like super weird for anybody outside of New Mexico to wear this stuff, but it had its like place or whatever. And so
I just like stars, you know, because I mean, both of you, I mean, I know, Andy, you guys have a lot of cool local brands there that, you know, play on your guys' city a lot too. And, you know, you see like all the like kind of lame-mo ones, and you're just like, I could do something, but like make it cool or more modern. And that was my thing, is like, you know, we're a smaller state, I guess, smaller city. So like, there just wasn't that many options. And that was my whole thing, was it'd be cool to like rep, you know, more Southwest or New Mexico stuff, but not have it be like, you know, corny and like old school, like South, like old Western, you know? And so that was like the main point. And then it kind of just snowballed into creating more and more stuff because the feedback was good. And then COVID happened. So I did have more time to kind of plan it. And then now I don't. And so
is your plan to just sell it online and then also at your shop? Or are you going to try and get into boutiques or, you know, just other businesses in
So
your
it
city?
is in a few other shops now. Like people wanted to, buy it
Like
wholesale, which
yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's fine. And if I wasn't so involved with Screen Kings, like it would be cool to pursue it more as like its own like separate thing. But, my heart, my life is with Screen Kings more so. And so that does like trump it more, which I do like. I enjoy, even though some days suck and it's hard, like I enjoy building Screen Kings more just because that's like what we've been doing for over 10 years. And so, that'll always be like the main thing. But people have asked me if I want to open my own store, like at our downtown. And, I was like, at first, like, yeah, that's awesome. But then I really thought, I'm like, who the hell's going to run it? Like, how are we going to print it? Like print more, you just think more about it and you're just like, you kind of had to pick your battles.
You gotta weigh out your options for sure.
So it's just going to be more low key thing. It's just more when I want to like design and like create fun stuff. And that's what I tell people. The cool part is since we see so many garments and color ink choices and different color shirts all the time through Screen Kings, that's what inspires me to try new things because I see other people do it all the time. So that's
kind of what we do with like shop shirts. Is like if there's something that we want to try or some kind of design style we want to do, we'll just make an Upstate shirt.
Right. I mean, it's essentially the same thing. Yeah. Whether it's like puff or, just a cool garment that's out there, like a cool color combo or anything. Yeah. So yeah, it's cool to like try out on different things and, either give it away or, whatever.
Yeah. Right. But, now, are you guys in a feud with Scott at King Screen?
I don't know. I mean, they're actually like the nicest people and we're very so similar.
Like, it was funny because like I started Screen King not knowing anything about King Screen. And I remember like going on one day and I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, what is this shit? And so when then I figured out, these guys have been around a lot longer than I have. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to just like chill out. And then
that was before Instagram.
Way before Instagram. Yeah. And then I remember one day, I think he followed me on Instagram and I was like, okay, I was like, I guess we're kind of cool. And then like, I followed him back and then we started talking, dude, he's like the nicest person.
Scott is the nicest, most
it's fucked person. Up. Like that guy's super, super nice. And so whenever I have like there's been times where I've had a question about something and he's the first to reply. Like he's this like,
he said that you guys have the same kids' names.
Jack, we have one kid. Yeah, Jackson. We have the two boys. I mean, we're all like, it's pretty like weird how similar it is. It's just live on opposite ends of the country.
Yeah. And so, but anyways, long story short, they are awesome. He is super cool, and he's awesome for sure.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, does Scott ever text you random things, Dylan?
Clubhouse related,
or anyone? Does he ever text you random things?
No, he'll text me like on like holidays and shit. Like he's like super nice. Like he like actually does that. Cause I'm like, man, I don't give a shit. But like, he'll text me and he's like, hey, happy Father's Day or whatever. He's like super nice about that stuff. But I get the Clubhouse text like every Monday and I'm like, man, I wish, but it's fucking Monday and like I'm working. So I can't do all this, but I would love to.
The lean group.
Yeah. Because honestly, like that whole like group of people, like I think have a lot of really good information and I would love to like be on that one day, but I'm just like, it seems like every Monday I got shit going on and
it's Monday. Yeah.
It's a Monday. So it's hard, but like, he's like, I get the text, like you should get on Clubhouse. And I'm like, you're fucking right. I should, but I can't. So
right. I've got shit.
I get pictures of him and his family. And
that's cool.
At Yellowstone sometimes. Right. And that's nice that, that feels good. Right. And then I get texts that are really provocative. Like just a reminder, it's your fault.
I get hold on, let me see if I'm on the wrong app. I get some from him that are just pictures of him in upstate shirts in different locations.
That's cool. Yeah, I know. He and I feel bad because he was like, hey, send a Screen King shirt. And I was like, okay, dude. And I did him. And now that you guys have mentioned it, I feel really bad because I need to send him a Screen King shirt. But and he's like, send me stickers. And I'm like, for sure, dude. And then I'm like, hey, Cori, we got to do that. And then here we are. I didn't do it.
I love Scott. He's such a good dude.
He is awesome. He's super cool. And he's always got like, if there's like a handful of shops that like, and no matter whatever they say, I'm going to listen to. And that's one of the dudes for sure. That guy is solid for sure.
Yeah. So how is it working together? You two?
It's good. I mean, well, like
you can lie on camera.
We've been together for so long that, all of our friends, they think we're psychotic. I truly do. Yeah, they don't, but it's good and bad, because it's good because we can talk about the business 24/7, which is fine because we both we like it.
Yeah.
And that's why we're able to kind of get ahead, even though we have like more limited staff. Like we could definitely stand to have like 3 other people, but we just don't.
Yeah.
And so that does help with communication. But like when we're like at work, honestly, like we fight and argue all the time. And other employees, they're just like,
they get all awkward because like it'll just be like at each other's throats.
Like mom and dad are fighting.
Yeah,
that's what they say. They're like they like cover their ears and stuff. I'm like, shut up.
Well, I'm like, shut your ears, and then I like start screaming or whatever. But
yeah,
it's always just like surface level. It's never anything like severe.
But I mean, sometimes it just has to be done. Like you just gotta like freak out for a second and tell somebody what's going on, and I think that our crew definitely gets that, and like we all have like that like kind of personality. Everybody like kind of like just gets like overexcited about things and stuff. And
we're just, we're like friends too, and sometimes at work, I don't even like see his ass all day. And so some people are like, well, that's like cool that you can like, be with each other all day. And I'm like,
we don't even see each other. Like
sometimes I don't even talk to her.
I know she'll come in and like, I won't even see her because we get in at different times because of like our schedules and stuff. And so I won't see her until like 4:00 in the afternoon, even though we've been in like the same building the whole day. Like we just don't like, we're both doing 2 different things. And so we really,
it's like Andy and Joanne are in the same fucking room all day.
Oh no. Yeah. He's in the back. I'm in the front. So,
and we just do business different too. Like she's like, what's important to her is different than what's important to me, which is perfect though, because what's important to her is super important for the business. And what's important to me is super important for the business. But like, if only one of us was doing it, the business would probably fail in one way or another. So it's almost like
I'm not as perfectionist as he is.
But she's like a get it done kind of person, which I'm not. I'm like the perfectionist side. So like those like kind of equal each other out a little bit though, because it's like at some point you got to say, all right, dude, wait, we did it. This is good. Let's like keep going. Whereas like, I'm like, nah, fuck it. Like we're going to keep like nitpicking at this little thing and regging this and like fixing these little things. And so it like kind of balances each other out a little bit. And it does work out, even though it seems counterproductive. But.
Well, Dylan said that like it's a bad thing, but I am in here all day with JoJo and she's smoking hot and she's really nice. And she says, she hypes me up and, when things are bad and, sort of like what you said, we work on different things. And so sometimes we don't see each other for hours,
Right.
And I think when we get home, we try not to talk about work, for a bit, but it kind of ends up there a little bit which I think is healthy to an extent, as long as you keep
it's fine.
Yeah.
Right. If you have a good balance with it and it's just not all about work,
Both of you are that meme of the dog in the room on fire where you're like, it's fine.
Yeah. It's kind of like that sometimes.
Just keep saying it's fine over and over.
And like, I'm pretty pessimistic and she's pretty optimistic, but sometimes like I'll come home and she's like, you got all this shit to do. And I'm like, yeah, I fucking know. And I'm like, and then it like kind of goes, I'm like, can we just like make food first and then we'll talk about stupid shit?
Well, yeah, right. When the kids go to it, because they're still little. And so, right when we get home from work, we have to deal with that for like 2 hours. And then once they go to bed, then I'm like, okay, here's my fucking laptop. And so, we just talk about the next day at night, which, I enjoy because then we at least like have a plan. So that way the days aren't like shitty.
But sometimes it's like an unrealistic schedule. And she's like, oh, it's just like 300-400 pieces front and back. And like one of them has like a 3-color sleeve. And I'm like, holy shit. Like there's no way we're going to get all this done.
Like if you wake up in the middle of the night with a pillow over your face, it's just because of that. Like no.
Yeah. And that is like the downfall. Like, so I'm not like the printer obviously. And so like me, I'm like, yeah, that's plenty of time. Like just get it done. Like just do it or whatever. And
just do it is the greatest
and that's
salesperson
like
thing.
And I just, my tail between my legs, I walk away and I just start cranking out shirts all day, So
so it's good and bad,
I hope that when she starts talking about like that sort of stuff, like what's due tomorrow when you're at home, you just jump on the dirt bike, do a quick lap.
Just do a backflip off the house and break my neck. And
right.
No job.
Like no one's doing that sleeve now. What are you going to do?
Yeah. No, that's what we do. We get on the dirt bikes and me and my friends just haul ass and like this close to ending our lives. Just every single Sunday, we just get on there and just go. And then we're like, yeah, all right, we're good. It resets you.
Yeah.
I've definitely.
I have embroidery to like worry about too. And so it's just like, it's just two different things. But.
And she does do a lot. Like I'm talking shit, but like seriously, she does like all of the ordering. all of the emailing, all of the embroidery, like all of these, and like all of the customer like related questions and stuff. She deals with all that stuff. And I realistically don't. So like I have it a little bit better than she does, I feel like. But the stuff I do is more time consuming just by itself. It's got its own like kind of time consuming situation. So, I mean,
it plays off good.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot of couples that make it work and actually like it that way. And there's some couples that their personalities probably aren't compatible at work.
At work, yeah. No, it takes certain people for sure. I mean, like I said, a lot of our friends are just like, a lot of people would not want to be around their significant other that much. And, that's totally cool. But
I feel like the truth of it is like, if your significant other is working with you, it's probably because you're both passionate about that subject. Like you're both passionate about printing. Like you said, is that you're so much more invested in Screen Kings than you are in No Coast.
Right.
But it's because it's what you're passionate about and what you want to do. Like, yeah, you want to work on that, but like Screen Kings comes first. Like for me and Lindsay, it's not like she doesn't give a fuck about screen printing at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she would rather work on like illustration or crafts or whatever, because that's her thing.
Right.
And it's like she worked in real estate for like whatever, like over 10 years. Right. And there was a spot when we had kids that it was like, okay, I'm going to stop doing real estate, but like you at the time need another customer service person. She worked here for a week and we were like, nah, this ain't going to fucking fly.
Yeah.
And so that was it. That was the end of it. And it was just kind of like, I go to work 9 to 5, do my thing. When I come home, I ask her about her day. She asks me about my day. And then it's like, that's it. It's like over and done with. And I can go to work the next day and keep all the stuff that I'm stressed out about in me bottled up. And then she can stress out about her things and keep that bottled up. And we don't have to get home.
That sounds healthy, man.
No,
honestly, it sounds great.
That works for some people. Like totally. I mean, because I was going to school for social work and I worked at a law firm before I like left to help him. And I didn't like give a shit about him printing in our garage. I just hated that there was boxes all over my house. And so, but then I was more into like helping run the business side of it. And like, I like talking to people. I like the customer relations part of it. So that's kind of why I started to enjoy it. And then, that's what I like. I like every day's different. Some of it's shitty, some of it's good. And that's what I like. Every day's different.
I think about those days, like when we first started and how we'd be stressed out about like some of these jobs. And I'm like, my God, I wish I had those days. Like, I'm like, I want those days, but so bad. Cause we'd be stressed out about like 100 piece. That's all we had to do that day. And now I'm like, that's just like the appetizer for the morning is like this, like 100, like 7 color 100 piece back. And I'm like, oh shit, dude. Like, it's just like,
it's crazy how quickly that, the times of those times, when you start off so small, it just seems so long ago.
You don't realize how good you had it.
Yeah.
We're just having this conversation because we kind of went through, me and a couple of people at the shop kind of went through a thing of like, all right, we need to like check ourselves. We need to like do a couple things differently because we kind of have been in this mode of this is how things are and whatever. And Sarah brought to my attention like some things that we needed to improve on in the shop. And we went through and did a lot of those things. And that's why I was saying we need to do morning meetings and like all this other stuff. But it's funny because me and Chris and Brian have been doing this since the very beginning. Like Chris and Brian have been with me since we started. And like when there's people that are here that are complaining or have issues with something that's like, I don't know, they bring it up to us and we look at it as like war veterans of like, you don't fucking know. Like, you know what I mean? Cause like in the beginning it was like, oh, we're working till 10 o'clock at night every night. We're hand delivering things. We're fucking things up left and right. And like, we're stressed out. We're pulling our hair out to like get this shit done. Yeah. And nowadays I feel like it's like me, and it's hard to say to somebody who is trying to go through their day and their job and whatever. It's hard for me to not brush that shit off, but that's something I need to work on. I need to like be more, I need to see it there from their point of view. But like the problem is like, I'm so war hardened of like, it was way worse so long ago. Yeah. Like right now to me, it seems ultra cushy. It's like, oh, we get here at 9 or you get here a little late and then you leave at 5 o'clock every day. And anytime I hear that, I'm like that old dude of like, oh, I used to walk uphill both ways, fucking 9 miles. Say,
it's just funny because like I was talking to my guy the other day and like, I've gone through like hell and back, like figuring out my process and like how I want things to be and like how the best way to get things done and like the way to make things look the best. And so the other day I was like, man, I like felt like the old guy. I was like, you're kind of lucky, dude. And he was like, why? I was like, because I fucking did all the hard work. Like now you just like, now I'm just telling you the best way to do it. And you don't even have to worry about it. Like, it's just fucking perfect all the time. And he was like, I guess that's true. And I was like, you don't even know. Like, I was just so mad. Like, I was just mad that day. And I'm like, but it's true because it's like, yeah, dude, like there'd be days where I was like, why isn't this working? Why does this like look like shit? And it's because I didn't know, I was like trying to figure out all these processes. I'm figuring out my emulsions. I'm figuring out my coating process. I'm figuring out what inks to use for certain substrates, like, all these things. And so like when you finally figure it out, it's like a fucking formula, you know what I mean? And you just give it to these people, that's the whole point. But it's hard for us to like realize that sometimes. It's like, that's why you did what you did, is so that way you can have this process and you can hand it off to other people so they can help you make the job easier. And so all I'm saying is I definitely get what you're saying.
You get it. Yeah. But like I said, it's like in this, time of like trying to grow and if I want to get more people in here, I need to stop. The easy way to say it is I'm an asshole sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I'll be in my office doing something and somebody will come in and they'll give me an issue that's happening or whatever. And I do have the tendency sometimes to like brush it off because I'm like, that's not that fucking big of a deal. Like it's not that big of a thing. But realistically to them, it is a big deal because they're living it. They're doing it right now. So like I need to be more, like compassionate and be like, like, let me help you go through this rather than me just being like, oh, like we'll get to it when we get to it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just guilty of that sometimes. But like I said, it's funny when you think about certain things and you're like, dude, like we used to be in an office that had like there were winters where we were like in a fucking huddled in a room with like blankets on and like a kerosene heater in the middle. And now there's like heated rooms and like we all have our own office and stuff. It's like, dude, you don't even fucking know the brain cells we killed sitting over a kerosene heater all day. Yeah. Like writing emails.
I had a little heater in our first space. It didn't have fucking AC or anything. And there was just a one door, brick walls. And I had to disassemble all my equipment just to get it through the door. And I did all this shit. And then like when we started printing, there was no windows, there was no ventilation, there was nothing. And I'm like, dude, like I'm just like smoking myself out every single day trying to print these jobs and stuff. And then I got this heater on. And then in the winter, I had like one of those like roller, like evaporative coolers and stuff. And so dude, it's like, and now we have this shop with a garage. I'm like, a garage door. You don't know how awesome a garage door is. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have a garage door.
We sound like such old, crusty men right now.
Yeah, no, but it's true because like,
I get it.
That's just the whole point. That's why we do what we do. And that's why you bring people into it and you try to like be understanding and stuff for sure.
Yeah.
That whole thing you were saying, Dylan, about how sometimes you come across as an asshole. I think we were talking about this on that Clubhouse meetup a couple of weeks ago. And
that situation is what I'm talking about right now. Like that's basically what happened. Yeah.
Well, we as owners, we're bombarded all day long. I should say owner operators, we're bombarded all day long by questions or issues or problems. And, by the 10th or 15th or 20th issue, that's stressful. And then somebody comes up that hasn't been a part of any of those issues. And they come into your office, let's say, or my office, and they're like, hey, I've got this thing going on. And if you react poorly, that's the first issue for them that day. Maybe it's the 16th for you or whatever. And so I think that's what's the challenge is that you have to recognize that, look, they're coming to me, they got this issue and all those other issues aren't their problem, but it's a big problem to them, whatever that is. Otherwise, I guess they wouldn't have come to you. And so that's the hard part because I've reacted a lot of times like an asshole, in those situations. And it's really, and I had to stop to think and say, wait a second, like they don't know this whole day that I just had, and it's not their fault. It's not their problem. All these other issues. And so,
right. I mean, and it just, if you're having
tricky.
like an annoying day or something, it's just hard not to snap. So
my problem is that I don't yell. I'm not like an angry guy. I usually just like treat things with like sarcasm or jokes.
Yeah.
And people will come in and say something that's like serious or like bugging them. And I'm like, I'll say some like offhand comment that's just like, they're like, well, fuck. And then they leave or whatever. And
they get their feelings hurt.
Right. And it's just like I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. It's just to me, you came in and said like, fucking, why is it raining today? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, what do you?
Yeah. Well, like sometimes it's like you're saying you have a bad day or whatever. And like, and then, or you're like in the middle of a bad situation and then they come at you with another problem. And then like the first thing I do is and it's just like a smart ass to me, is I repeat it back to them, their problem, in a sarcastic tone. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then it's like this whole like, should I have asked that question? And then I'm like, cause she's in the corner just flipping me off, like, shut the fuck up. And so like, I'm like, I'm sorry, like, let's, figure this out or whatever. And then like
doing one of these in the background.
That's we're the yin and yang. And I think that's another reason why we work so well together, because like she snaps sometimes and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And then I snap sometimes, she's like, dude, shut up. And so it's like, I think we like kind of balance each other out a little bit for sure. Yeah. And we're able to, because it's like, my feelings won't get hurt if she tells me I'm a fucking idiot. But if somebody else did, I'd be like, wow, why would you say that? You know what I mean? So like, it's
right.
You're like, frustrations. You're like, why is it raining outside? And you just stare at them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm like, oh, so it's raining outside? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, cool.
It's like what I do to you, Andy, when you talk about like if I was late to our me and you talking in the beginning, you're like, oh, do you know about time or whatever? And then I'll be like, time is a construct made up by man and like all this other stuff. That's what I do. Like they'll come in and be like, didn't you know this thing? And I'll be like, didn't you know that time doesn't really exist? And then they're just like, oh, and then they turn around and leave.
Yeah. Everybody deals with it differently. But I think that like you said, Andy, the most important thing is that you recognize that like, sometimes you got to put yourself in their shoes for a little bit and see what's really
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to grow as a human being, of like, I need to understand that like other people's things are just as important as what like I have going on and everything.
It's hard when you manage so many people, different personalities, Right.
So long story short, I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to I'm trying to be a better boss.
We all are. And isn't it awesome how much this little shop makes like me grow, like as a person? This shop has taught me so much, like almost everything, honestly.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, just like social skills and stuff. And as far as like obviously business and stuff, but that really stems down to other things as far as like your personality and like how you treat people and everything. So no, absolutely.
And just, I mean, being a boss, like how weird is that,
It's weird.
Or like you're writing paychecks so that people can go home and eat. Or like,
oh, dude,
I know,
pay their mortgage. I hate that
because it's like, when I used to get paychecks, like, it's just like, I don't know, one of those things. It's just, I always feel weird about that still sometimes.
Yeah. But, and I feel weird when people call me boss or like they say I'm their boss. And I'm like, dude, I'm like your fucking age. Like, this is not, I'm not your boss.
Dude, Rich, who's a new hire here, he's doing amazing, but he's been here, I don't know, like maybe a month or two now. Sure. He does that every time he comes into my office. At the end of the day, he always just like lets me know when he's leaving. Yeah. He's like, all right, boss man. And he'll like talks to me, like he says like, hey boss, and like all this stuff. And then it's like, every single time it throws me off, like every time. And it's not like he doesn't come in, he's like, hey dude, or hey Dylan or whatever. It's like, hey boss. And I'm just like, I feel
it's like, it sucks because it's like their term of endearment. Like it's their way of being respectful. And so you're right,
like, I get it.
Oh, boss motherfucker. But like at the same time, it's like weird. And so like whenever they say it, I'm like, dude, I'm just your homie, man. We're just friends. Like we're just working together. We're just getting it done. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. And like, cause I'm like, I don't want to be this like big, bad, scary boss. Like I want you to come to me and like feel comfortable saying like, hey, this is weird or this is messed up. Not like, oh shit, I don't want to tell my boss. You know what I mean? So I always try to like get on the same level because we are on the same level. We're all the same, dude. So like, let's just all like be relatable and like try to like work through the daily issues that we have or whatever, Yeah,
it's really hard. If people don't realize how hard it is, because there's a lot of like that like mental state behind a lot of that stuff of like you yourself as an owner look at it as like, these are my peers. Like these are people I want to like get a beer with. These are the people I want to do this with. But again, to them, they're also like, yeah, we like you. You're a good dude, but like you also write our paycheck and you're in charge of like paying me more. Or I have an issue with somebody else at work or some process at work and you haven't fixed it yet.
Right.
Or whatever. And then it gets to be this other thing of like, yeah, I like you, but like also I don't like you at times because you're not doing the shit I want you to do yet or whatever. And it's like, it's hard in that sense of like, I don't know, for me to process to be like, I hang out with you guys. Like we do this stuff, like just because my name's on the checks or like I am the one that has to make the final decision doesn't mean I'm not like, just like you guys. And I don't know everything and I'm trying to learn just like you guys are. It's just weird.
We're just taking our best guess most of the time.
They'll come to me and be like, what do you want to do with this? you need to make final say or whatever. I'm just like, dude, fucking like
what do you
I
think?
literally know just as much as you do. Like, what do you guys think about this issue?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like that
fair.
more so like, more constructive with the employees too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just giving that option too is like, as far as like, what do you think is like sometimes empowering for some people, and it's like, oh, well, I have a say. And it's like that. And I'm like, yeah, you do, dude. Because like straight up, like I've been doing this for 10 years and like, I'm still kind of like, shit, like what the hell is this? Like, you know what I mean? Something happens and I'm like, I've never seen this. And the entire time I've done this. And so that's when I'm like, dude, because another perspective might be exactly what you need. Like it might be a perspective that's outside of like screen printing. It's like, oh, well, like, I've done this in mechanic work before and I noticed that this happens. And I'm like, well, let's try it, dude. Like that might work. You know what I mean? So it's just having that different perspective and letting people feel like they're capable of giving that perspective instead of feeling like they can't,
Oh, 100%. And the thing is too, is like, it's my job as the owner to constantly be educating myself and learning and like taking the time to do research. And that's something that I do a lot in like screen printing in general, is just like trying to learn all the time. And it's not their job. Like I can't expect them to go home and be like, on YouTube looking up how to fucking do things. Like it's my job to learn things and teach them. So like, that's something that I have that they don't, I guess, is like, I'm constantly trying to figure out new ways, and I'm talking to people like you or whatever. Right. I want to, because that's my passion, but it's also like they come to me a lot of times with like, how do you fix this? And a lot of times I know how to fix things, but a lot of times it's like, well, you were in it all day. Like, what do you think it is? And like you said, like, it's very empowering. And there's a lot of times where I'm not right on a subject, and I'll go to someone like Chris or Brian or Sarah or whatever and be like, well, what do you think? And they tell me what they think. And I'm like, well, that makes sense to me. Like, let's do that. And then again, it makes them feel, and I'm not doing that to make them feel a certain way, but like, I want them to be respected and be like,
well, to have a say,
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you guys, because you kind of have a different like area of the world than we do, like being in the desert. Like, what things do you guys run into that are issues with screen printing with like where you live?
We don't do water-based. Yeah, we don't do water-based discharge. And I mean, there is a way to do it out here. There's shops that do.
Well, you'd have to have like very climate controlled shop in order to do
100%. And then you have to be, you got to be real quick, like with that kind of stuff. You got to kind of get in there and get it done. Foggers, obviously, we talked about this at ISS. Like you got to have foggers, you got to have all these things, and like. I mean, I know a lot of guys that'll do a single color job, but they have to burn like 4 screens just for that single color job.
Our elevation is just so high. We have no humidity.
I mean, zero.
Like
you'll set a screen out for post exposure, like after you burn it and you wash it out and everything, and it's dry in like 2 minutes, like super dry in like 2 minutes. And so it's just super dry. It's hot. So that's like really our only limitation. Honestly, I think we're pretty lucky as far as like coating screens. We don't really have like a lot of issues with like, them drying and being weird.
So it helps in that way. It's not too humid anywhere.
Ink. Like I know a lot of like southern like shops like in Florida and stuff sometimes they have like water in a lot of water in their garments and stuff, and it's really hard for them to like cure. Whereas like us, we're just, I don't know. So really we don't have a whole lot of limitations other than being able to use water-based ink. I would say. Right.
I was going to say, do you guys have any kind of things in the shop to keep it? Do you have air conditioning in the shop, or do you just
I have
things?
Yeah, we have refrigerated air, and we have 3 units. We don't run it in the back only because the exit is like where it actually blows out is like right above the dryer. So I don't run it in the back. I just open the garage up and just do it. We can't really like, as far as like climate control, like I don't know. I wouldn't say it's like super climate. It's pretty hot almost all the time. Even in the winter, it's like pretty much always fucking hot. So, but like in our dark room, I have like a little dehumidifier that doesn't really do a whole lot. Like when if I coat like a ton of screens, like I'll notice moisture in it after they dry completely, but really like that's about it. We actually need to get a dehumidifier for our washout room. I've noticed like we've been getting a lot of rain lately, and the moisture just kind of like hangs out in that room after they're done cleaning screens for the day. Like it'll hang out for like 30 minutes and it's just like kind of foggy. And so, but that's really it.
Well, Andy, do you want to do some listener questions?
Sure. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. We're going to ask a couple. So
Northwest Inc. asks, other than an auto, what has been the best decision you've made to take your company to the higher level?
Oh man. I would say hiring people is probably the best decision that we've ever made. And
it took us a long time to do it because
that was the hardest decision I also ever made, because I could easily buy an auto. I could do whatever I wanted to do as far as like buying things, but like having an extra hand is like, and it's hard for me to admit because I'm pretty like, I can do this myself, but like having that extra hand has been pretty like valuable, especially when there's just so many jobs to have to go out. So I would say like hiring help, but like not being frivolous with it, not just like hiring everybody that you see, but like hiring good help is like probably been, and that's hard to find, but that's probably been our best asset.
I think embroidery has been pretty good. In the beginning, it was hard because it was all on me to learn it. And, they just send you a damn machine and they're like, oh, here you go. Here's your single head, learn it your damn self.
Yeah.
And I almost sent it back a ton of times because I just didn't know. And we just bought it randomly. But it's proven to be very like successful for us. It's almost just as busy as screen printing. It's been very good. It definitely is a learning curve though in the beginning.
But it's like one of those things where like
you can have that edge above other shops.
Like a lot of screen printing places just don't offer it because it is time consuming. You got to have somebody there constantly.
You have a whole nother
team
it. For it.
Yeah. And so I think that has been super beneficial for us, especially in the area that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
So this question has been asked before, and my usual go-to is, CTS. Like that was a huge game changer for us.
Yeah.
But because I've answered that before, my answer was going to be exactly yours. Just hiring, the right hire.
Yeah.
It's really, because a lot of people I think they get in a catch-22, it's, we definitely need to hire somebody. We don't have the budget, but we can't get the budget unless we hire somebody.
I know. And that was our biggest struggle literally until just a few years ago at most. And it was just scary of like wanting to spend the money, even though you knew you had to. Like there was literally a point where you just couldn't do it by yourselves anymore. And our kid was a baby sleeping in the shop every single night until 2 a.m. in a pack and play because we were just doing it ourselves. And we're just like, dude, this isn't like going to work anymore. And so it takes a long time to get to that point, and it's hard, but definitely.
Well, it's scary. You got to commit to, not just their hourly wage or if it's a salary, but also here anyway, like health insurance and everything else, workman's comp. And so it's a big commitment. Yeah. It's a scary thing hiring somebody, especially if you don't think it's in the budget in those early years, taking that leap and kind of like, it's almost like going from the garage to an actual space. That's right.
Like actually spending rent.
But it's like the second you see the benefits from it. It's like, exactly. I remember going from I was in a shed and then I was in a garage and then from the garage.
We've moved so many times.
Oh my God. And I'll never do it again. But like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you see the second you do it, you already start to see the benefit. But with the hiring somebody, the hard part is you got to hire the right person. Like you were saying, like if you do not hire the right person, you can almost go backwards a little bit because you're spending so much time fixing the problems and like teaching somebody, something over and over and over and over. And it's like, well, shit. In this amount of time, I could have just done it myself and like stayed that extra night and just did all this myself for free. So it's like one of those catch-22s a little bit.
Or if they leave and you spend so much time, whether they quit or that they're quitting and you spend so much time and effort teaching them and you're just like have to start over again. Right. That's, so that's why we're at a point where hopefully like those people I hired, they could teach the new people, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be just like on us anymore, which that would be very nice. So hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready for the next one?
Yep,
our buddy at Lancaster Print House didn't have a question. He said, not a question, just a statement. These two are the hardest working couple I've ever met. Building a business while raising kids, true rock stars.
As the kid screaming in the background, I'm like, it's okay.
That guy's like risen a lot though too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally, he reminds me of like when we kind of started and he posted the other day even just like, he's like, nobody's going to outwork me. And I was just like, we would always say that. And all of our friends were just like, thought we were just crazy working all the time. And, like I said, 2 a.m, our kid would sleep in the damn pack and play at the shop every single night. And I mean, if you wanted enough, you just like work hard as fuck.
So Lancaster is the guy that I'm talking about that always prints just badass. Like everything's fucking amazing and he doesn't do any wrong. He's that guy.
Yeah.
So whenever I get on Instagram and I see his 6 color discharge, I'm like, this is why I fucking don't even post, dude. What's the point? Like I can't fucking do that. So
I
I'm
know
like,
he would post his own merch years ago, and he did this gradient print. It was like neon yellow to white or something.
No, it was neon yellow to green, and then he did another one that was orange to purple.
It was really 5 years ago or something, and I was just like,
he's just experimenting. I'm like, this is literally better than anything I've ever seen.
And I had it screenshot on my phone, and I was so pissed. I was like, why can't we do anything cool? We don't even.
And then I get she's like, well, you can't do that. I'm like, I fucking know.
We never print our own merch, and so I just like. When you see other people do cool shit, you're like,
all that to say, he's very nice and he's very good. So thank you.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
I mean, look, if you want to be successful, then you have to be hardworking. And certain people like yourselves, husband and wife team, and you have kids too. And this is, your friends say, oh, how can you work so hard or so much? You're making sacrifices. But I think what you have to remember, or maybe they don't understand, it's for you or for us as shop owners, it's an investment. It's an investment into our future, not a sacrifice, because one day, you hope to not make those sacrifices. You hope to be able to have a better work-life balance.
I mean, that's the whole point and that's the difference between some people is they don't think of the big picture, which is fine. Right. They just think of the next couple weeks or month or whatever. And that's, totally cool. I mean, sometimes I wish I could just think like that and I didn't have to think of, I wish I could just leave it off at 5:00, but in the end, I like this life more, even though it's more stressful.
It never happens. Yeah.
There's no way in hell. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that won't no matter how many people I have, I'm always going to be right there with them doing the work. And I'll never let go of the reins 100%, even 50%. Honestly, I'm always going to be there. I'm going to be the guy loading the shirts every single day until I'm not doing it anymore. And the only way I would not do it is if I didn't own the company. There's no way in hell that I would ever let anybody do it any other way. So, I mean, it's just people don't really understand, but I mean, until they own their own business and then they do understand. And then it's that's what it takes.
Yeah.
So.
I can't say that I won't be more detached from this place at one point or whatever, but certainly right now, I love being in the trenches. Just like you say, I love being in the battle every day.
It probably helps you, since you're not on presses every day, it probably helps you appreciate more when you are. And you guys are such a bigger operation than us. So, I mean, what you're doing every day is probably, just worse, better, just as stressful as anything else. So, it's cool to bounce around, I think, once you get to that point. Do a little bit of everything. I think that would be cool too.
I think it's just different people and different personalities. You know what I mean? There's people that just want to they just want to be oh, I wish I was home, or I wish I was just sitting on the couch watching TV.
Right.
It's literally there's days maybe once every 2 months or something where I just have nothing to do. Yeah. And I'm home and it drives me fucking crazy. I cannot sit still.
You start thinking of all the shit you could be doing.
Right. It's literally this weekend is what that is for me. Because there's a holiday tomorrow. It's today I was just you know what? I'm just going to lay in bed and watch TV. And it was nice because I had a show I really wanted to watch because I'm watching Yellowstone right now and I'm trying to get through it all. Yeah. And I was all right, I'm being productive. But there's days where I'm just I have nothing to do and there's nothing I want to watch. And it drives me crazy. It's I would much rather come to the shop and just work on random shit I got to get done. Mm-hmm. And that to me is fulfilling.
It is.
Rather than being right. I feel better about it than if I was just chilling.
Exactly. It's just another thing to be okay, this is done. Right. And that feels good. That feels way better than just sitting on your ass sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes it's good to still do that, when you get the chance just to decompress for sure. But,
to me, that's Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Or January. I mean, that's, and I don't know if it's like that where you guys are too, but I mean, that's usually a slow month for us, January, February time. And, that's when, we get to print our own merch or.
That's when I get all the jobs that I didn't get done. Well, I'm we're going to hurry up and get all this shit done.
Our first vacation last month, which was psychotic to do in the middle of the summer, but you get to a point where you just don't give a shit and you're just let's go. It's the first time we've ever been closed during a week ever. And, we just said, fuck it. And we just went,
I feel you got to do that sometimes. You need a vacation.
Yeah, we never have done that
before. Hard part though is people don't care and they'll still email you, they'll still text you, they'll still call you, they'll still DM you. And I'm no matter what.
And that's
like, you're
fine.
never
I mean,
gonna get
you
away
can't
from
ever
it,
be like, I'm going to turn completely off for a week.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way. And that's fine. But at least I got to get the hell out of there for like a second, you know?
Right. All right. Hanson Screen Printing says, I have many jokes about unemployed people. Sadly, none of them work.
For sure.
That took me a second.
Tony at Tiny Fish says, silly things you did starting out or recently that you wouldn't do again.
Oh God, my God. That list is too long. Okay. So one thing that I never did that drives me crazy is when people put food in the conveyor dryer. I would never do that. Like, like heating up pizza or something. I'll fucking blow my brains out before I do that.
Well, we always have employees that say like, oh, what if you put some Oreos through there and stuff, you know? And I'm like, that would be sick, but you know.
Yeah, I also paid so fucking much money for this and I'm not going to put food in it. But things that I did, I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess like a stupid thing when you're first starting out and you find out what curable reducer is and you're like, oh, if I just put a shitload of this in my ink, this would be super cool because it'd be super thin. And then you find out that like your opacity sucks. And then you find out that like it's probably not cured because there's so much fucking reducer in it. That would probably be the dumbest thing that I did for like my first few like or year of printing or whatever. I was like, oh, reducer and everything. I'm going to reduce everything. And then I was like, oh, this white's not bright. It's because I put like 50% reducer in it. And I'm like, oh shit, like I got to hit it a million times. And then it's like, I ran it through the dryer and it's like smoking, but it's not curing. And so, I mean, that's probably the dumbest. I would say, I always tell new printers that I'm like, be careful with reducer because it seems super cool at the time, but then like you put too much in and things start to get weird. So I always try to like, especially when my guys are like helping me or whatever, I'm like, I try to like point them in the right direction as to other things you can use or like maybe just mixing your ink and not being afraid to do that or whatever. And so I would say that's probably the dumbest thing I've done.
Yeah, but it taught you what not to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like after, you know, you do that and then you give the customer their shirts and then you see them like 2 months later and there's a big ass like washout in it. And you're like, what the hell is that about? And then you start to like go on the forums, the t-shirt forums, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And so like, now I'm like, it's like very, very little, like whenever I add it, I'm like, don't put too much, you know, because I've seen it before, you know? So
yeah.
Having our washout booth, like in the print area was pretty shitty.
That was stupid. Yeah. We had a washout booth and like in the production, honestly, pretty close to the dryer, which was really dumb, but, we ended up moving it into its own room. And so now it's like completely separated from everything. And like, cause there was just so much like humidity that would like be by the dryer. And I feel like, I don't really know if it really affected anything, but as far as like just the possibility of it doing that, yeah, like it could have, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Last one. Mint Printworks asks, is there a formula to daily capacity or do we all book everything and just enjoy the ride?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a formula. I don't know it, but like, I think that daily capacity really, for me to understand daily capacity is like, just because I know how long things take, because I've done it for so long now, I can look at a job and tell you like, that's going to take me 2 hours or that's going to take me 3 hours or that'll take 30 minutes or whatever. So really it comes down to communication, like we said in the beginning of this. And so I think that like whenever she gets a job and she's like, all right, here's the list for the week or the day or whatever, I look at that and I'm like, I can easily map out how long it's going to take me to get all that stuff done, if it's even possible that day.
Same with embroidery. I mean, embroidery is easier because, you can tell how long a job will take because it's, set on the machine. And usually there's not really too many issues, and so that's a little bit easier to gauge with how many jobs you can fit through a day on your machines. But printing, I mean, that's why I'm not really anything.
Well, there's so many variables. Yeah, shit can happen or screen breakdown.
Yeah, you get in a job and then you're like
screen rips or something.
Or you get like more in a screen. You're like, dude, I got to reburn another screen or whatever. Like that can happen. And like, you have to almost like adjust for that a little bit. So whenever she says like, oh, we have,
4 jobs or whatever.
4 jobs. And they're all 50 pieces. 2 of them are front and back. I'm like, okay, I start to like figure it out and I'll pre-burn screens, but like you set that up and you get more in the screen. You're like, okay, we got to pull this one down. We got to do a new screen or whatever, like whatever the case may be, And so, I mean, I guess, there is no formula. It's really just like communication and like
do
trial
as much
and error.
as like you can, and I mean,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I don't know, you guys are like bigger, so maybe you guys have a thing, but
I have the same thing. I basically, it's just like, it's just,
like what you'd like to happen.
right. Like basically what we do is we fill our schedule by day of like, I think this could get done today. I think this could get done today. And then, I mean, Tyler's going to yell at me from TC about this because he probably has data on all this stuff. But like, I just fill the day of like, I think this press could do this press could do this, and so on. But the truth of it is it's not like every day is not like the day that has to go out. We're ahead on turnaround. So like, if we say turnaround's 15 business days, usually the jobs are on like 8 days or 10 days. And it's like, if on this day they get, 8 of 10 jobs done, the other 2 will roll over to the next day. And then, so when I fill the week, I usually leave Friday with only like a couple jobs on it for both guys. So that by the time Friday rolls, everything rolled over to Friday. And then that's how that goes.
And sometimes, I was going to, not to cut you up, but I was going to say sometimes, unfortunately, that list can like lead to disappointment as well, though, because like, you're like, oh, okay, we got all these jobs. And then like you get through the day and you only got 3 jobs done because like there was an issue or whatever.
Right.
And then you have these other 3 jobs and you're like, damn, dude, like, and then that kind of like leads to like poor morale for everybody, because then I'm all pissed off. Then my guy's all pissed off because I'm pissed off. And he's like, well, should we stick around? Should we do it? And then it's like, you don't want to like make them suffer because like you poorly scheduled that job or those jobs or whatever. And so I don't know, but I think lists are good. I think you have to have them, but I think that like being realistic with those lists and like allowing a little bit of like buffer when things happen is like super.
And I would say that's the downfall of us working together is we talk all the time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't communicate to the employees as well. And so we know what's going on, but they don't, because, it's just, so that kind of sucks for other people. Is we need to be better about like, other people also need to know our schedule, even though we know it. We also need to relay it to the entire shop, Yeah. So
I agree.
Well,
that sucks.
We at ShirtKong, we cracked the code, and all you do is you take the number of shirts times pi r squared.
Oh, that's it. Oh my God.
And I wish we'd have done it earlier. No, but really, apparently when Justin was here earlier, he actually did crack the code. He has an Excel spreadsheet. I don't know if he can be talking about this, but he will share it. He'll share it with everybody. That's what he said.
It sounds like it's not that important to where he should share it. Yeah.
He showed me a little bit of like how it was functioning, and I think he's got it figured out.
The truth of it is there really is like things that you could do. Like there's things that you can, you can basically get averages after a while. Like you could have your person at the end of the dryer being like, how long did it take him to set up this 50 piece, 2 front, 2 back, and do the whole thing. And then you get averages, and then you can get a number of like, okay, this job roughly takes this long. And then eventually you can apply it to every job on your schedule. You can get more dialed in, which is the truth with anything. I feel like if you take the time, you can get the data and you can figure out how all this stuff works. But for the
time, like doing it over and over.
Right. But for the general public of screen printers that just want to fucking get the shit done during the day and they don't super have to worry about it, we do it this way and it works.
I think that's my favorite game, is to figure out how many dozens per hour I'm going to do every time I get a job. I set it up and I'm like, watch, dude, this is going to be like 32 dozen an hour. And he's like, all right, cool. And then I set it up and it's like 31. I'm like, well, I got to speed something up. And I'm just like bumping up my floods or something, trying to go as fast as I can. And then I think that's like the most entertaining part of my day half the time.
Yeah. I think I'm just part of the world of thinking that like shit happens. And I try to just set my expectations of like, if we get through this today, that would rule. And like, if you try to,
if you get your list done, that'd be awesome.
Right. But like, if you don't, like, whatever, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Like, this is why it's set up this way, and we'll move on to the next day. But
that's like
the goal is to try to get as much shit done as you can during the day, efficiently and quality.
Right. And that's why you got to like, it comes back to communication. It's just communicating your jobs and like everybody understanding what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think that the 3 of our shops can probably get away with that because I have generally the same attitude, but our margins are such that if we don't complete one of the jobs one day, it's okay. But if let's say you're a contract shop and you're running on 85 cents a print. Yeah. Like it's a different game, right? Because if you do not complete X amount of shirts per hour or whatever, well, then you're losing money. And so it's a whole different thing. Yeah, I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's like contract game is cool for a second and then you get in it and they're like, it's not.
And look at the contract work for a local. So like, it's not too I know there are like crazy big contract shops out there, and SARS isn't as like formal as like
and they
those.
work with they own shops.
Yeah.
So they kind of get it a little bit more. They understand like things happen.
They just didn't want to be an owner anymore. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
But
brokering is sick, but not for me.
yeah.
You guys, do you guys have any questions for us?
Didn't you have a question?
Well, no, I was going to ask you, Andy, because I know you guys do those Bella biker shorts quite often. Do you do plastisol transfer on those? Because we have to do some this week, and I think that would be probably the best way.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what
it's
you're
like
doing.
Just like a little thing on the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, so plastisol transfers or vinyl. Or
I thought of vinyl. This one would be a little hard to do vinyl, so I think the transfer.
You just want to make sure that whatever ink or vinyl you're using stretches.
Yeah. What kind of ink did you use? Any special ink for the transfer?
You can put a stretch additive in.
Like
Okay.
I don't know if I have any, but yeah, I have some stretch white though I can use, I guess. But
usually if we have anything like that that's actually going to stretch, I try to print it so that it's printed into the fabric and it has stretch. Because a lot of times if you do vinyl, it's just going to sit on top.
Right.
But they do make stretch stuff. It's just, I hate printing on that stuff. It's just
no. Yeah.
It is what it is. I usually just do case by case depending on what the print is or what the size is or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like a tiny little thing, which, I think I've seen you like do before, just like a little emblem on the bottom. But I think it's a little too detailed to be like, the vinyl. And so
it'd be hard to weed out.
Yeah. And it's black ink, which is nice, but I just didn't know if there was anything specific. Yeah.
It was black ink all day. Just print that shit.
I don't know anything.
Yeah. It's not Sunday night yet. So
we got like a few hours before this.
In my mind, I was thinking like bold white ink on black stretchy pants.
That's originally, but there's no black. They've been out of stock forever.
So black ink all day long. Yeah. You just print that shit.
Let's do it. Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. They need to be out of stock of those forever.
I know. Well, they're just so damn expensive. I can't believe how pricey those are. And when I tell customers that, I'm like, that's wholesale price. I can't believe it. They're $30 damn, which is wild.
Do you guys think it's going to go back as far as like stock like soon, or do you think it's going to take time?
We've heard mid 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I keep hearing hats September, Richardson, and I don't know if you get obviously probably those SNS notifications. Oh my God, right when I get that, I'm like jumping to my computer. I'm like, oh my God, what is it? What's in stock? And then literally the other day it was a Richardson. It was a 112. It was the black on black. And it said some came in stock. I clicked my email at 0 minutes. So I just got it, went in, and it was already gone on SNS. And I was
problem is I don't trust any of these people to say this should be better by this point. Cause there's so many fucking variables. Like there was something I saw the other day that was like new record high of like container ships sitting in the ocean waiting to come in.
I read that article too, and
it's like, how do you know shit's going to come back by a certain point if they can't even get fucking boats unloaded? Like
it says they're taking like over a week, almost 2 weeks to even unload the damn containers. And so, I mean, you just think it's just trickling so badly, and trying to relate it to customers. Luckily, we haven't had anybody be like dicks or rude, about things, especially with Richardson. Some people are so adamant about that hat. It's a good, it's a good quality hat, but it's like, it gets so daunting every single day to say the things that are out of stock, especially comfort colors. Like I said, people got so into that last year when it was the only thing available. And then now you can't get it at all. And there's nothing very comparable to it, especially color wise and fit and stuff. And so you're just like, well,
problem is there's like every printer's waiting for it. So like as soon as that shit comes available, it's not available anymore anyway, because everybody bought it.
Damn hat. And
then there's people like Josh that go and buy everything up just to hoard it in his basement.
See, and I said that I was like, damn bigger shop pissed me off.
It's all the little like clothing lines or whatever.
Love you, Josh.
They buy everything. Like they'll buy like all the stock of some weird they
follow a lot of
comfort color
Cricket like homemaker vinyl like mom shops, and they're just buying all these damn colors of shirts, and they're just showing them in their warehouses, and I'm like, it's you.
Yeah, and
you're the one buying it.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I get it, man. Like, do what you got to do, but it's just like it sucks because it's like sometimes our order is just like 3 XLs off from being completed or whatever, and I'm like, dude, like
it just adds so much to my day, and it's just like so draining to have to check all the sites for every single job.
And then that comes back to like making the printing process difficult, because it's like, okay, cool. Well, there's 36 next levels, and then there's going to be 15 Bella canvas, like extra smalls or whatever. And it's like, okay, like you got to like throw that in the mix. And it's like, that's when things get confusing. That's when orders get messed up. And it's like a whole, like, it's a whole thing, man. It's crazy.
All right. So I've got a plan. So the four of us pool our money, buy some bot software. When that notification hits, boom, it's all ours.
Well, shit. I thought I was very quick because I was within 0 minutes. And
she rushed in. I remember she skirts into the parking lot all fast, and she could bust her laptop out. And she's like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "They're already sold out." And I was like, "What are you talking?"
And who knows that there was even any? They just might send those out.
Phone yet. Like I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I like search it, and then it pops up. I was like, "It's been literally 0 minutes, and then it's already sold out." That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else too is just sitting at their desk and they get the same.
They're all getting those notifications, you know.
That's the problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't do a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, last year was shirts, so like that sucked too. And hats were good. It's definitely flip flopped this year. And people ask me now, they're like, "Well, what's the winter looking like?" And I'm like, "You guys should order now." And I even tell some of our good customers, I'm like, "You know what? If you want us to order your garments, we could sit on it for like a month or so. I don't care. I'd rather get your shit ordered and hold on to it and print it later than it be sold out tomorrow."
That's what I'm most worried about right now is hoodies.
Black hoodies.
Well, because they're okay. Well, I don't know what kinds, but like, you know, Bella was like total shit last year, and they have pretty good in all the colors, which is very shocking. But I'm like, that could literally change in an hour. I've seen things switch in an hour before.
Yeah.
I'm the one that is ordering, so I see it all the time, and I just get so pissed off. God.
Do you guys have any shop hacks?
I saw your guys' thing. You're just like, "Oh, think of some like," and I'm like, man. I mean, so the baby wipe thing, I've been doing that for a while. I remember you guys brought that. Somebody.
Someone brought that up on the show too, and I use them all the time now.
Dude, I've been buying them.
You guys would do anything
since
else.
Day one, because like my dad used to tell me when we first started, and he was like, "I mean, if it could get baby shit off their butt, then it would probably get ink off of a squeegee." And I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." And so we bought.
But it's the other way around. It's like,
yeah, I know.
If you're getting ink plastisol off of a spatula or off of a thing that easy, what's on that thing that's you're wiping in your kid's asshole? Like,
I know.
Sometimes it's easier to clean the spatula and
oh no, all day.
Not like fucking. It's not like lemon water. There's something in it that breaks that shit down. Like,
it's just crazy. But that would have been my shop hack, I guess. But I don't know. Like, do you guys know what dry hitting is on the manual? Have you ever heard of that? Like where you like. So that was I still like do the manual all the time. Like I'm a manual guy for sure. But whenever I have a small job and it's like a white print on something, and I feel like I'm the only person that does this, and it's more time consuming, but say I'll do 2 hits. So I'll print, flash, print, and then I'll come around again and I'll do a quick flash, and then I dip the squeegee in the ink, but I don't flood, and I just like dry hit it. Like I just push really hard, and it like flattens out the print instead of like heat pressing or doing something like that afterwards. That's what I've been doing. And I mean, it's been, so
it's kind of like your roller screen,
like a roller screen without the roller screen. Yeah. Right. So that would be my only, I mean, it's not like really a shop hack, I guess, but that's especially for the manual dudes. Like I've taught a lot of like manual shops that, and it's been super helpful for them.
It took everything in Dylan's soul not to say a joke about that, but I saw your face. Hitting. You said dry hitting. Yeah. I looked at Dylan.
I was biting my lip. I looked at
Dylan, and I'm like, he's not going to be able to
hold
it.
Michael Scott about it. Yeah.
Dude, I'm just so filled with fucking steam's coming out of my ears right now.
So anyways, the dry hit is what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what she said.
But anyways, I guess that's my only shop hack. I don't know. I mean, I could probably tell you something when I'm working, but I can't think of it.
Do you have anything for front office that's helpful for you? A tip that you used during the day?
Trying to think with embroidery, because I used to do the embroidery all the time, but now I have someone like an embroidery manager that does everything, which is awesome. But embroidery is pretty straightforward. And then
I want more shop hacks from like customer service people that are like, "Oh, I do this one trick and it like makes my life so much easier."
Oh, shit.
It's
No,
like-
I mean, I have Post-its everywhere. I mean,
Team Post-it.
yeah, I'm like, oh, dude, all
All over the
day.
place.
I get a note,
It looks like she's like trying to investigate a fucking crime. Like there's just fucking post-it notes everywhere saying like things that nobody knows what they mean.
That's me too. But I use the stickies on my Mac more than I use.
Oh yeah, I keep the important ones on the corner right here because I'm like, those are the ones I gotta like really get to.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other ones I can leave on my desk. If they get covered, it's okay, maybe for a day or so.
Or they
then,
get picked up, you throw a stack of shirts on them, and then they're gone forever.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, I'm an organized, scattered, organized person. So I know where everything is. If I were to ever like die or something, I mean, it's like you would have to decipher the code. So,
which I can't. So
yeah,
I would just sell the business and move on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just sell it with the post-it notes. They can figure it out.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
When I die, I just want my friends to take all my computers and throw them in the microwave.
Oh my God, please. Just all the just crap in the back of the shop. But our shop's like, I feel like it's pretty messy. A lot of people say our shop's pretty clean, but I feel like it's pretty messy. Andy, your shop's literally the cleanest thing I've ever seen in my life. I get so pissed. I'm like,
did you mail them money?
You know, I seriously, even the other day, I was like, you know, this press in the top of the dryer is so fucking dirty. And I was like, you know, Andy's shop is so, Andy's shop is so clean. Like the damn floor doesn't have a single
She's like, it's so shiny
lint on it.
Oh, there's
and then
so perfect.
The next day he's like, I cleaned the dryer and the press because you're talking shit. And I was like, well, I mean, it looked better,
I cleaned it at 2 a.m. with a fucking baby wipe. So here we go.
So yeah, I mean, that's very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Our shop's dirtier than you'd think, but
No,
anytime he
our
knows
floor is
anybody's coming
good.
around or he's going to take a picture, he cleans that shit first.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, Dylan. Quick takes.
Quick takes. You ready? I'll start them off.
Quick takes.
What's one thing you need every morning?
Coffee.
All right. Well, that was quick.
Just black coffee or
what we usually
espresso?
do you guys have Dutch Brothers out there?
Maybe.
I think it's
Sounds familiar.
A West Coast.
It's like definitely like a West. It's like in Arizona and California and stuff. But it's like a way cooler Starbucks.
Yeah, and it's way cheaper. But they have this drink called the 911, with it's 6 shots of espresso with some cream in it, and that's what we do.
So I hit that, and then I chase it with like an energy drink, and then I'm good until about noon.
I'm chasing this energy thing with an energy drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to be really bad with energy drinks, and we've kind of not drinking them too much lately. But yeah, we're caffeine addicts for sure.
Yeah.
A burrito, a breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
I remembered that we watched this movie last night, and it's about Val Kilmer. And it's like a
the Val documentary.
Yeah. We watched it last night. I don't know. I liked it.
It's good.
And he lives in New Mexico.
Okay.
So is he your neighbor? Because that'd be really dope.
He probably lives in Santa Fe,
He
which
either
is
lives in
where
Santa Fe or like Taos or like somewhere like
it's
artsy.
a little more expensive.
Yeah.
Like
we
Southwestern.
live in like a really cheap area. It's nice, but it's not movie star stuff.
Yeah.
His pad doesn't look movie star-ish. He's kind of below the radar.
Is it in
So,
Santa Fe? Do you remember Santa Fe?
Dylan, do you remember?
I don't remember. No.
Yeah.
It probably is, but
Let's see.
a lot of people live here just because they like it's such a different culture than, I mean, where both of you guys live for sure, like totally different. So Andy, would you consider you like Midwest, right?
Yeah, we're no coast also though.
Well, yeah, no, I know. So yeah, we're the same, pretty much landlocked, but yeah, I guess I would consider, I've never been, to Missouri or.
Well, if you're ever here, stop by, say hi. I've never been to New Mexico. I've been to everywhere around it, like Arizona and
Arizona.
Texas.
Yeah,
pretty
Santa
similar.
Fe. He lives in Santa Fe. Well, it's like outside of Santa Fe.
Okay.
So not too far. That's like 45 minutes from here.
It's the capital, so I mean, it's just richer.
It's just like more art. Richer.
Well, he was Batman,
Yeah, I mean that's right.
He didn't like being Batman either.
He didn't. Yeah, I found that out. He walked away from it. They offered him the next year, the next movie. Yeah, and he said no.
He said that he basically couldn't do anything. He couldn't act because the suit was so stiff that he was just like saying lines, standing straight up. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him so much better now after watching that because, kind of like screen printing and maybe me, it resonated with me because he said that, you know, it wasn't because of money. He wasn't taking movies because of money. He was doing it because of his craft, and he was trying to grow.
Right.
He
I
was
love that part of
super
it.
into it to be into it. Not
Super
like
into
he
it.
didn't want to be famous. He just wanted to do film and
That's
Right.
cool.
That's cool.
acting and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And why this movie's so good is one more thing is that he had this little camcorder that he like hit record throughout almost his whole life. And so this kind of splices all of that together. He has like all this footage of him on set, like, you know, all these kind of different things. It's really great. You should, I highly recommend it.
What's it on?
It's on Hulu, isn't it?
Hulu?
I didn't watch it on Hulu. I watched it on, I want to say maybe Amazon.
It might be
Okay.
Amazon. I think it's like an Amazon original or a Hulu original or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it was really good.
That's cool.
Nice.
All right,
Best
next.
recent read, listen, or watch.
Of anything.
Anything.
See, I was
Show
watching
you
the
guys
show
are watching.
Manifest. I just finished that show Manifest, and
You're the second person to tell us to watch that. Was it good?
yes, and they just got renewed last weekend, and it's the best. Yeah, the best. But that was a good one. And we're office people, and we watched the series like 12, 13 times. So that's always our go-to, really.
Yeah.
Else.
Music wise, that band Turnstile came out with an album last Friday, something like that, a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
It's really good. It's different, but just listen to that.
It's funny. You said this might not apply to you guys, but I actually saved this on my phone because I read it earlier. And I was like, that kind of makes sense. Somebody posted, I just found out that people who suffer from anxiety tend to rewatch the same TV shows over and over again because we already know what's going to happen next. Therefore, it creates a sense of safety, comfort that's the reason why we keep rewatching them.
That's super. It's real deep. Yeah. I just think it's
It's just
funny,
mindless,
but yeah.
you know, so you don't have to like.
Yeah.
think
No,
about
I
it.
know, but like it made me think of that because I know people that are just like they sit home and they do stuff and then they're just like, oh, I just put
On the
on
background.
The Office or I watch, Friends like
Workaholics
and over and over
yeah.
again.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. We've seen, and then, Workaholics, but now they charge, so like you can't even watch it for free on Amazon anymore. You got to pay for it, which not going to do, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting. Like I'm not that person, but it was just like, that makes sense.
You
know
don't
what I
watch
mean?
the
They're, like,
show again.
comfortable. I don't. I love what like film and TV is like my hobby that I do outside of work. But like, I'll rewatch movies like every so often, only because I feel like it's one of those things where like I'll rewatch a movie like once or twice a year. That's like I love that movie, but it's usually because I'm at a different point in my life or something new has happened to me where I relate to that movie in a different way or I see it in a different way.
Yeah, for sure.
But like a show, I rarely ever rewatch a show. Like,
See, we're not really movie people.
Yeah, like we watch the same things over and over and over again. Straight up.
Yeah. Or there's like Blippi or some shit on all the time, so.
Or like YouTube. They like to watch the unboxing toys.
Oh yeah, this shit's weird.
It's so weird.
Well, you guys have kids, so like, what's the kid show that your kids love that you guys fucking hate?
Peppa Pig. I won't put on
She
Peppa
freaks
Pig.
out on Peppa Pig.
I think that's the most annoying damn show. Cartoon.
I don't really care. I'm like, I'll put it on.
Or Ryan, the older one used to watch that Ryan's World or whatever, or God, I can't stand the people's voice.
I'll watch it all. Nothing bugs
See,
me.
he can mindlessly just like watch something, but I can't. I don't like
The way I see it is
crazy.
if I freak out and tell them they can't watch it, then they're just going to freak out even more on me. So I'm like, I'd rather just like let them be like chill and just watch whatever they want to watch. Cause I'm probably not going to watch anything. If I put something on, they probably wouldn't want to watch it anyways. So yeah.
When you said Ryan, I was hoping you were going to say Ryanette videos. Like, like you just play Ryanette videos for your kids. Like they
choose it all.
It's soothing for them. They like to watch that kind of stuff. So,
that's funny.
Riley Hopkins is like their favorite. So.
Yeah.
They love green.
It's garbage young toddler crap. So
yeah.
YouTube millionaires that are just so rich.
Like Minecraft playthroughs.
Yeah. It's crazy.
No one cares.
I don't get it at all.
Yeah.
All right. What advice? Yeah. Next one is, what advice would you give your younger self?
To hire sooner.
Yeah, that. And then I would say, don't freak out as much about things, because there would be times where I would like not sleep for like a couple of days about something, like a problem we had in the shop or whatever. And I think that started to it like kind of like made me like more OCD about certain things that I didn't really need to be like that crazy about. And I would say that it was like a blessing and a curse, but more so just don't freak out as much.
He would think about things like obsess over them, like think about it, like
a pinhole on a shirt would like set me into like a whole like world of pain. So that's why I now that we've gone through it so many times and like dealt with all this stuff, I feel like I'm more laid back about certain things that maybe like 8 years ago I'd been like super crazy about. So, but I just feel like sometimes it's not worth stressing over. It's just like, just fix it. If you can't fix a problem, just like know to not do it next time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
let's see. What would you be doing if you weren't running a print shop?
Oh, no.
I don't know if I would have ever actually went to be the attorney. I think I probably would have just stayed in like the legal kind of field, but I wouldn't have wanted to be.
What made you want to do that?
I just always thought it was interesting, like social work and like sociology, criminology, all that stuff. That's what I always wanted to do. That's what I got my degree in. And so I didn't know what I wanted to do with it yet because I had quit the law firm I was working at because it was all sketchy, because lawyers are all sketchy anyway, to help him. And so I never really got to like delve into like more of what I would have done with the degree. And so now it doesn't get used obviously at all. So
yeah, right. You use that shit against him. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But probably something in that like area. I just don't know. I don't even know what's out there to get a job of like that as, because it's been so long, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just graphic design is what I would be doing.
Yeah.
That's like kind of what I started with and I did. So I don't know. That's like my least favorite thing to do though. Like when we have to fix people's art and stuff, that's like I don't like doing that. So
that's something that like when I was doing merch buttons and then when I sold that and went to the print shop in Georgia, like that was my side hustle at the time because I had no money. Mm-hmm. I was always doing graphic design for the people that we were going to do buttons for or shirts for or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I was good at it. I thought I was good at it. And then like I needed enough money to afford my loft apartment in Georgia. So like I would work during the day and I would have a client that I set an order up for and they needed artwork. I would hire myself. Basically, I would say, oh, I could do your artwork for $250 or whatever. And I would go home that night and I would crank out the design. And then the next day, like present it to them and they would be like, okay, cool. And I would use that extra money to like pay my rent or like buy groceries or whatever.
When I worked for that design company, you were talking about MySpace. We did like MySpace layouts for like bands. That was like my whole thing. And so I was doing MySpace layouts and like a whole package deals, like MySpace merch and then like album art or whatever. Like it was like a whole thing that we would do for these people. So, and I did that a lot. But like I said, I mean, it was just so repetitive. And like after a while, I was like, dude, I'm just like, you run out of ideas when you just do it all day, every single day. I was like, I can't think I get like writer's block and I couldn't think of anything. And so I was just like, it's just like, that's what I like about printing is like every day is a little bit different. Like even though it's the same thing, you're always printing a white print, you're always printing, two colors or whatever, but they're different every single day. Yeah. So it's like, it kind of switches it up. Even though it's the same thing, it still switches it up.
Yeah. Andy, you want me to do the next question so you can have the,
do it.
The final.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Spaghetti.
You both are like spaghetti.
Well, because like our kids actually eat it, we eat it, and then we do make breakfast a lot because, like I said, I know it's like
I do breakfast a shitload.
Because you have to put chili on everything, and so it's I mean, I've been in places where they just don't have like a burrito drive-through place on every corner, and I'm like, what do these people eat for breakfast? It's so weird.
It's criminal.
Yeah, it's just weird. And so I mean,
there are zero burrito places here.
I believe it.
That's psychotic. You have to come over here and. There's 5 around my corner.
What were we? I was trying to think earlier. What were we eating that night in Long Beach that we were laughing about?
Hot dogs.
Was it because that lady was it like a lady or a dude was making street hot dogs, right?
Yeah.
And they looked delicious, but when I got one, I remember it was fucking gross.
Yeah, it is gross. I mean, I was like pretty intoxicated, but I mean, I didn't really give a shit what it tasted like. But yeah, I mean, it's just street food. But see, they'll do that here, but it's it'll always be a burrito.
It's always a burrito.
Some people will have a tortilla around it.
All I think I remember about that hot dog was that she fucking doused it in mustard.
Yeah,
And it was like there was more mustard than hot
I remember
dog.
you were super pissed about it. You got it back and it was just like dripping with mustard. And I was like, damn, she did him up.
I think I said I wanted mustard. She was like, "Oh, okay," and it was just like,
Oh, here you
She's
go.
like, you want the mustard?
like
She did the whole thing.
so much mustard. I was like, this mustard is delicious.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
We all know the real truth is that you didn't like it because it wasn't boiled.
Right. It wasn't a boiled hot dog. Right.
God.
To be honest, I think it was. I think she pulled it out of a pot of water.
It probably was boiled, honestly.
Yeah.
But boiled on the street with like sewer water.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yep.
All right. On that note, Andy, finish her off.
What is for dinner tonight?
What is
Spaghetti.
Well, so I'm starving. We haven't eaten because we
Shit,
usually
spaghetti
pick
sounds
them up.
good.
So, I mean, or Taco Cabana.
We're probably just gonna get.
So you
burritos.
guys, it's just such different food. I mean, because that's what I would love to travel, is just to try food places. Like, because it's just, our food here is just so distinct because it's like one type of food. But so like Midwest food, I feel like just like American food. And then and same thing with New York, I guess. It's just like plain
Burgers,
like American
hot
food.
dogs.
Like, is there anything like specialized to where you're from? What would you
There's
say?
specialized foods to like right where I'm from, but
What would
like
you say?
nothing crazy. Like we call them speedies. It's just like chicken kebab, basically. It's like marinated
cool.
chicken.
Yeah.
But like I'm from New York, so like everyone automatically thinks of like pizza. So we have like a fuckload of pizza places.
Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
true. Like if New York City, yeah, like the New York style pizza.
Right.
That makes
So like
sense.
there's a
Randy?
pizza place on every corner here, everywhere.
Yeah. That's cool.
But
St.
yeah, I don't
Louis.
have anything else that crazy.
We've got toasted ravioli. So if it's like ravioli that you would normally eat, just a pasta, whatever,
Yeah.
but they deep fry it.
That sounds
It's like
good.
breaded and deep fried, right?
Yeah, toasted ravioli.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of, I don't know, there's thousands of restaurants here. And so we have a lot of options, that we can eat anything we want. It's not just, I know Midwestern people think that haven't been here or whatever, think it's basically burgers or whatever, but it's everything. There's anything you want. What's for dinner for you, Dylan?
I am ordering Chinese.
That's so sick. See, we don't have like good Asian really places like that here, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I live in a small town, like a real small town, and we have a pizza place, a McDonald's, an Arby's, and a Chinese food restaurant.
The Chinese food restaurant is Panda Express.
It's not Panda Express.
Don't
No,
lie.
and it's funny. Like it's owned by like a Chinese family. They just like moved here, opened their own restaurant.
It's
and
just good.
like it's funny because it's like the kids are at the counter, like taking your order.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, yeah.
parents are out back, and yeah, they're open all the time.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna order that as soon as this is done, and
Oh yeah, because
probably-
you're 2 hours ahead, so you're
Yeah.
7:30, huh?
it's 7:30 here. Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
God, you got to go to bed soon.
I
dude.
know.
nah,
Are you
I
guys
don't work
closed tomorrow?
Yeah, we're close tomorrow.
Yeah. We're
Same.
close tomorrow too for once. So
I'll probably stay up late and watch more Yellowstone.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to stay up late and
Yeah,
watch
she's
TV.
gonna put
I'm
up
a night owl. I
manifest.
stay awake till like probably 1 or 2 in the morning every night, just because I'm nocturnal for sure.
Because
Well,
you
it's
had
funny. I used
shots.
to do.
That's
Yeah,
why.
seriously, 8 shots of espresso to chasing
mean-
it with an energy drink.
No.
Yeah,
Like
wait.
so I'm having veggie burgers,
Mm.
not because I'm a vegetarian, just because I do like them also.
Yeah.
I like them. Yeah.
And I don't know what the side's going to be, but we'll figure out something.
Spaghetti.
And I wanted to say thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking
course.
to us. Look what I just got, or am getting. Can you read that?
Oh, dude. Yes.
Is that blurry?
Have you listened to it?
No, I just
Dude, it is so good. Listen to it. That's the turnstile.
Oh.
Listen to it for real.
I spelled it wrong at first, turnstile, but it's actually STILE.
Yep.
So I
It's like
figured it
more
out.
like hardcore.
They were a hardcore band. I mean, I guess you could
It's
classify them as a
technically-
hardcore band still. They all are. Well, a couple of the dudes are in a band called Trapped Under Ice, and which is like a pretty hardcore band. And then now they're doing this, and it's like it's just like groovy. It's good, man.
Do you guys have a good hardcore scene in New Mexico?
Yeah. There's a. I mean,
it used to be more like your deathcore and like
yeah. Like,
obviously when we were
my
like,
band was like
younger.
a black metal band, and then we're old now, so we can't do that anymore. And then now there's like a couple of kids that are starting hardcore bands and
Yeah.
stuff. So there's bands that roll through all the
That's
time.
pretty
So
good.
yeah,
There's a lot of hardcore here near
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Oh,
dude.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
New York's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all beat the fuck out of each other. It's not like it's not like hardcore where you're like, oh, that band's good. And you sit there and watch. It's like if you
like
go,
a fight. Yeah.
you're gonna get punched in the mouth. Yeah.
That's how shows are here. Well,
Yeah.
shows used to be really crazy here. I mean, it's like trash cans and shit like in your face. But
did you see that? Did you see that? That reel going around to that dude standing at the hardcore show with the beer and he gets punched in the face. That's here for every human being that goes to a show. That's just how it is.
Well, I mean, that fool was standing in front of the stage backwards with a beer in his hand. He's gonna get hit.
Yeah.
Like, he absolutely deserved that.
It's funny. I did the band thing for a long time. We did all the shows and you know, I was whatever. And then I started the business and I was out of it for a long time. I would still go to shows for sure, but like not as many local shows. And it was funny, like, I don't know, it was a couple of years ago now. I ended up going to a local show because a friend of mine was playing and they haven't played in a while or whatever. I told them before I walked in, I was like, you know what? I don't even know if I want to get close because I'm old now. I don't want to be kicked in the head.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking very first thing. Like I walked in and I was maybe 6 people back from like the pit area. Yeah. This dude, I saw him fucking Matrix style run across people's chests, jumped up in the air and literally fucking kicked me right in the face.
7 feet tall too. Wow. So that's fucked up.
Standing up in the crowd and it was just like, poof. And I was like, I just immediately turned around and looked at my friends. I was like,
well,
I fucking told you.
Back.
Right. Like exactly.
Get in the car. Yeah. Like
they're like, hey, glad to be back, guys.
Yeah, dude, that shit sucks, man. Yeah. I can't get my ass beat anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's fun once in a while, but
it is fun. And it's cool to see like certain bands that you really listen to and stuff. But see,
we always want to go together. So that's the shitty part for us is like, we're into the same thing. So like, finding a babysitter or some shit's always just a pain in the ass. And so,
so we just usually don't go.
Unless it's, you know, something like super cool, but
I'll just talk about the show all day and not go.
Watch it.
That's happened here.
Cool, I bet.
yeah, for sure.
I hate ourselves.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you guys go enjoy your spaghetti burritos and
imagine that.
Can't wait.
For real, thanks for being on this with us. We love hanging out with you guys. Hopefully we'll see you at Long Beach again.
I know. I mean, the second they have it, I mean, I'm down to go. Like I said, we all went there.
That was like the last time.
In a room with hundreds of thousands of people and right at the height of COVID, I guess. So
we were in it.
Well, that's what's funny to me is I keep thinking about the last time I went to Long Beach and I was like, oh, that was like 4 years ago.
I know.
And it wasn't. It was like it seems like so long ago, but really it was
not even 2 months before everything shut down.
I was gonna say, I remember doing it and then going back in the into the airport, people were wearing masks. And I was like, why are people wearing masks? What the hell's going on? And then we get back and everybody's like, COVID. I was like, what the hell's COVID? And then and the whole world shut down like that day. I was like, oh my God, like we were in it, dude.
Yeah. Like, and I'm like, I mean, like we didn't get like sick or anything.
Yeah, thankfully
no problem.
But
like, you know, that's probably the worst case scenario we could have probably been in and came out on top. So
here we are.
I mean, I'll throw me back in.
Eating spaghetti and burritos.
Yeah.
Living the life.
Eating hot dogs off the street again. So that'll be
Can't
cool.
wait.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.